Welcome to another deadline stream ahead of matchday 5 this time, and thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. Of course, just 2 more match days before we finish off the group stages and then move on to the knockouts, which is kind of like a different competition in itself. The kind of best teams are just left in it facing each other, and the worst teams, the ones you can target, they are all eliminated. So it's going to be very interesting. Those of you who have the wild card as well in your back pocket ahead of the knockouts could have a nice advantage there, and you are able to afford maybe some of these riskier picks from teams that may get eliminated, but they can still get you points so long as they remain in the competition. In terms of how I'm doing at the moment, I'm around 567, I believe, in the world, and a very good season so far. The last 3 match days have been very good. However, missing out on a few points here and in a bit of a predicament heading into matchday 5, and I don't like my defence, but I'm not even able to fully fix those problems because I also have some doubts in midfield, including the suspended Alvarez. So not great at the moment despite how well I've been doing so far. Thank you to everyone who's been tuning in already, and remember to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. It really helps out the channel, and then you can get through your questions in the live chat, and I'll try to get through as many as possible. So welcome to everyone. Let's try go through the ones at the beginning. Welcome to Caxa, thank you for joining in. Uros as well. Mateus as well. Is Salah going to play against Porto? I wish I could tell you that, mate, but if you look at Liverpool at the moment, Jota is a doubt, so you would suspect he's not going to play this week. Let's wait and see, of course. Firmino is still probably going to miss out, so only Mane, Minamino, Salah and Origi are available, so 3 of those 4 should play up front, and of course let's wait and see what happens there. Dylan, best fantasy YouTuber, thank you very much, Avi. There's a lot of good fantasy YouTubers, to be fair, but thank you very much for your kind words. Rock and Roll says, let's go Limitless. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people playing the Limitless this week, and the same fixtures as it was in matchday 2, which is when I played it. Where's your rank now? Around 567. Rogi. Evening all transfers locked. Kimmich to Trent and Alvarez to Van der Beek. Wow, that's interesting. Van der Beek's a bit of an interesting one because Carrick, of course, forms part of the same kind of coaching staff under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, so I'm not too sure if he is going to start, but of course he was very impressive against Watford. Surely Donny plays now with Ole gone, maybe, but then again, once again, it's the same kind of coaching staff there. I have so many injuries and doubts, might have to take a hit. It does seem like that, doesn't it, Danish? I'm thinking of something similar, but I don't want to take hits. I think there's only 13 match days. You want to minimise those hits as much as possible. Hopefully Donny plays with Oli out and Pogba injured. Yeah, I mean, he deserves a chance. I think he's better than Fred and Matic and all these other players in the midfield, McTominay. For Sulas, definitely Militao. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing that, Santiago. I'm actually thinking of doing that. Will Alvarez play match day 6? Maybe, but we just don't know for sure. Ajax have already qualified, so they can afford to do that. A lot of people in the chat saying they're playing their Limitless chip, so that's interesting. Is it the best match day to play Limitless? Looking at how much rotation there could be even now, it's not the best match day, but based on what you have left, I would rather play it now than in match day 6, and then if not, you could maybe use it in the knockouts, but once again, you don't have those kind of easier teams to target, or at least not as many. You get unlimited transfers when into the round of 16 knockouts, you do, but then again, you know, you can make a team full of players and a lot of them can get knocked out heading into the quarterfinals or semis, so that's why having a wild card is very important there as well. Will Azpilicueta and Danjuma play? I wish I knew that, mate. I'm not too sure about Azpilicueta, but he has been playing in all of the games. He's going to get some minutes eventually, so it's either going to be now or at the weekend against Man United, and if you're asking me, it's more likely of Azpilicueta starting than it is in the Premier League, but still not completely sure about that. And as for Danjuma, he is a doubt, but we're going to get the lineups anyway about Danjuma. Villarreal and United is one of the early kickoffs. Same with Dynamo Kiev against Bayern Munich. Sell or hold Alvarez. I mean, he's going to be missing out this game week, so if you have a free transfer to spare, I would get rid of him for maybe Seawold. Hello Dylan, hope you're doing well. Are you sure about Aspi? No, I'm not sure about him, to be honest. And will Okafor start? He travelled actually with the squad, so there is a chance of him starting, but he could just be benched easily. Should I buy Arnold in my squad or will he be benched? It's a risky one. I would only have him on a Limitless, but I wouldn't be buying him in on my normal team, if I'm being completely honest. Griezmann or Benzema for the next 2 games? Great question. I would rather have Benzema. Who am I going to play? Rulli or Mendy? That's a tough one. I mean, that's why you don't want to have 2 goalkeepers playing on the same day. You want goalkeepers playing on different days. But ultimately, I would play Mendy because he's just got a better chance of keeping a clean sheet. Welcome, Wei Seng. Do you think Trent will start? There is a possibility of him being benched. It has happened in recent weeks in the Champions League, so don't be too surprised. But of course, if I'm on a Limitless, I would still include him just in case. But of course, it's very risky regardless. Adeyemi for Haller, you could do that, or Anthony. You don't have to just go for Haller. Ronaldo, do you think Trent will start once again? I'm not too sure. There's no need to spam the chat, mate. Okafor or Seawold? Well, Seawold is more likely to start. Okafor offers far more attacking potential. But yeah, ultimately, if both of them are starting, I'd rather go for Okafor for that attacking potential. What do you think about trading Sula and Roussillon for Christensen and Woba? It's decent, but once again with Woba, he scored a free kick. But other than that, I wouldn't be expecting too many points from him. I would rather have his actual teammate Ongweni, who gets ball recovery points, and he's a bit more, I'd say, sustainable in terms of the amount of points he can get. Diego Carlos to Cancelo or Adeyemi to Haller? It would have to be Adeyemi to Haller for me because Cancelo has 2 tough fixtures. Should we keep Lewandowski today? I think so. Choupo-Moting is actually, it looks like he's going to be a doubt to start today. I think he's one of those players with COVID for Bayern Munich, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of COVID news, injuries, and all of this. So if there is anything that I'm missing out on or that is factually incorrect, then let me know in the live chat. Mezzauri for Sula, I'm thinking of that Alexa myself, so I think that's a good move. Just bear in mind he could be rotated. Will Okafor start? There is a chance he travel with the squad, but I can't tell you for sure, if I'm being completely honest. Adeyemi or Anthony? I'd probably say Anthony. Transfer out Salah. I mean, the thing is, he could start. It's going to be him or Mane being dropped potentially, but you just don't know who it's going to be. Ghana or Nigeria? I'll pass comment, AJ. Do you think Tsimikas will play against Porto? That's a good question. That's the thing, though. If Tsimikas is kind of now first choice, which to be fair, he probably isn't, despite his good performances, but it depends. Robertson can get his fitness back up against Porto, and Tsimikas plays at the weekend against Southampton, but ultimately, who knows? That's a 50-50 call. It depends on how Klopp is looking at it and whether he wants to rest more players in the Porto game. For Limitless Chip, what is the best option, Cancelo or Skriniar? That's a good question. I would still go for Cancelo, but he is facing PSG, so it's a tough one. For Cheloff. Christensen or Aspie? Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's a tough one. I'd probably go for Christensen, but there is a risk of both of them being dropped. Welcome, Glenn. Thank you for tuning in, mate. And I've seen some of your videos as well. They're top quality. Thank you for tuning in. What about Anthony or Tadic? I probably would go for Anthony in this case, but both of them are good options. What are your transfer plans? I'll show you my transfer plans now, so you can see my team. It's not really in a great state, unfortunately. I am considering making several moves, if not just the one. So Sula is going to be confirmed out for Matchday 5, so a simple move to Mezzauri is good, and it gives me an extra free transfer going into Matchday 6, and it's something that some of my viewers have actually recommended. I think Super Saud is one of them as well, so obviously a big shout out to him. But if not, I might make 2 free transfers, get Mezzauri in, but also get rid of Laporte, and then get in either Antonio Rudiger or another defender, like Eder Militao, of course. And if not, I will then just get rid of Sula for Eder Militao and then upgrade Alvarez to Seawold. That is another set of transfers I could do. And if not, it could be Jorginho coming in for Danjuma and then Eder Militao coming in once again for Sula. So those are my kind of transfer plans, mainly on my defence, and then maybe a move in the midfield. But otherwise, just the one transfer, and then that will carry over the one that I haven't used to Matchday 6, and that might put me in a better position because obviously I don't have my wild card to kind of navigate any possible further rotation, which is very likely heading into the last Matchday. Laporte will play, says Sergio. I'm not too sure, to be honest, and ultimately, even if he is or not, I don't want him, but unfortunately I'm not in a position to get rid of him, but I think he will play. Best replacement for Sula, I think Eder Militao, definitely. Which fullbacks do you think will start for Chelsea? I think it will be Chilwell and also Reece James, to be honest. And I think Azpilicueta could be one of the centre-backs, but if not, he's going to be benched again, to be honest. But this is an important game for Chelsea. They haven't qualified yet, and they can still finish first. Play Limitless now or during the knockouts? I probably would play it now, but just bear in mind there is rotation. Lewandowski or Salah captain? Let me just make sure of this. I think, yeah, they both play... Now, Lewandowski plays today and Salah plays tomorrow, so just, yeah, there's no need to overcomplicate that. Just captain Lewandowski today and Salah tomorrow. There's no need to, think about which one you have to captain. What about Royce? Not really too interested. I highlighted him towards the beginning of the group stages and he just hasn't done it, so I probably wouldn't go there. Bellingham's the only Dortmund midfielder I would go for. Once again, do you think Laporte will start? I think so, but I could be wrong. Should I transfer out Bellingham? I probably would keep him ahead of the last 2 match days. I probably should have kept him, to be honest. Do you think it's worth to hold on to Lukaku? Probably not. I would just sell him. I would have got rid of him time ago, to be honest. Militao or Blind? Definitely Militao. Origi or Minamino, good options. They are good options, and there is a risk of Salah not playing, but ultimately, if you have him, it's a difficult one to sell, because if he starts, you might be in a lot of trouble facing Porto. And as for Origi or Minamino, they are good options. They both could start theoretically, but then again, what if one of them actually doesn't start and they come off the bench and it's actually Mane playing? You never know. But obviously, you would expect a bit of rotation from Liverpool and a lot of these qualified teams. And thank you, Rock and Roll, for the advice, or at least the kind of chat rules there. Thank you, Glenn. Carvajal in wildcard. Probably not for me. I'd rather go for Eder Militao because of ball recoveries, mate. Alvarez to Donny if he starts. Yeah, I think that could be a good option, and I would recommend the same to anyone thinking of Van der Beek. Wait and see for the lineups before, going in for him. Mbappe or Cristiano? Great question. I probably would say Cristiano because of the fixtures, but Mbappe has been in great form. 5 goals in 2 games for France, and he's been scoring for PSG. He's been carrying them this season. Thank you, Niraj. Do you think Azpilicueta will play? If I'm being honest, I think there is a chance that he doesn't play, but looking at the fixture at the weekend, then it could be Azpilicueta starting today, or should I say this week, during the Champions League, and then being benched in the Premier League. So it's a difficult one to say, but there is a chance of him being benched. I'm ultimately 50-50 on that one. Hey Dylan, would you consider bringing in one of the 3.9 or 4 million buying defenders? Yeah, maybe Richards could be one to look at, and he plays as the left back, of course. So that is ultimately something I would consider. And we do get the lineup for Bayern Munich, so that is a good shout. What do you think about double Chelsea defence? I still think it's good and reasonable, and if they still have something to play for in matchday 6, then even better, so there won't be rotation, and they have a good fixture on matchday 6. Should I get Cancelo? Probably not. If it's on a Limitless, then yes, because of his attacking potential, but looking at the next 2 fixtures, I think you could find better value elsewhere. Is Antony a good pick, even if Ajax have already qualified? I still think he is a good pick, but obviously he could be benched. The same goes for Salah and all these qualified players, so it's a difficult one. But if he does start, of course he's a good a good player to have. Replace Alvarez with Casemiro, Koeman or Jorginho? I would go with Jorginho, to be honest, but if Koeman is starting, which could be actually on the cards with Gnabry being out, then I would go for him instead. Who is better to get rid of, Sula or Alexandro? Probably Sula, because he's definitely missing out. And on the other hand, Alexandro, I think he's fine unless there is something that's happened with him. Rudiger or Blind? Rudiger for me. Thoughts on Zenit defenders? I would go for one of their cheaper ones. So I think they have an option around 4 million. I think it's Douglas. I would maybe consider him for a cheap defender. And replacements for Kimmich, Eder Militao is definitely one of them. Maybe a Chelsea defender if you don't have them already. Nkunku and Mazzari, good shouts. I think so. That's why they featured in my best Limitless and Wildcard team videos. Vinny or Benzema and Alaba or Militao? Definitely Militao for me. And as for Vinicius or Benzema, 50-50. I think Vinicius offers you better value, but if I had enough money, I would go for Benzema, but I like both of them a lot. Limitless Chip, Salah plus Mane or one? I mean, I had both of them in my team, and I think it is a nice differential to have. The problem is one of them could be dropped for Origi or Minamino. You just don't know who it's going to be. But that way, having both of them, you at least have one of them starting, you would think. So I would probably go for both, but of course, you don't want someone of that price being on your bench. Will Alonso and Aspi play? Aspi has a good chance. I'm not sure about Alonso, to be honest, though. It could be Chilwell starting in the Champions League and at the weekend, to be honest. How about Nkunku? I mentioned him in my best wildcard team video and in my best Limitless team, so I think he's a good option. I have 11 million. I need one defender and one midfielder. Advice. Eder Militao in defence and in midfield. It's a difficult one. I'm not really that infused with most of the options in midfield, but yeah, maybe Jorginho I would go for. Do you think Trent will start for Liverpool? There is a chance he doesn't, to be honest. But then again, we just don't know what Liverpool are thinking or what Klopp is thinking. But I'm not sure if they've actually secured first place in the group. I'm suspecting they have, but they've definitely qualified already, so they don't have to play him. Best midfielder for 8.9 million. Ilicic could be a good one, or Pasalic, one of those Atalanta midfielders. I think that could be on the cards, to be honest. Other than that, I'd have to think about that, to be honest. I'm not too sure about most of the other options. Will Kimmich play today? He won't. He's out with COVID, it looks like. Who would you get? Adeyemi or Vinicius for a -4 hit? Vinicius. Force on Pedro Gonzalez. I think he's a decent option, but yeah, with if you look at Sporting Lisbon in particular, they don't really have great fixtures to round off the group stages. Do you think Foden will play? I think so. It's a really important game for City. If they win, they pretty much secure qualification and also first place. Seawald for Alvarez. I'm thinking about the Enrique, and I think that's a good option. Best 5 million or less defender, Mazraoui for me. But of course, once again, there is a risk of him not starting. Would you do Foden to Nkunku? I would probably, yes. And then maybe for matchday 6, you could move him on. Is going from Sula, Laporte to Mazraoui, Militao good? I think so. It's something that I actually was thinking of doing for my own team. Yannick, is Okafor going to start? Once again, with these questions about is someone going to start or not, I can only offer you my opinion. He's travelled with the squad, so there is a chance of him starting, but he could easily be benched. If you're asking me, I personally think he will start, but I could be wrong. Best defender under 6 million, Eder Militao for me. Foden, good option. I think he is, but I think there are better options elsewhere because of the fixtures. Trent or Cancelo? Cancelo for me. Who should I replace Sula with? Eder Militao. A defender from Atletico. They play against Milan. Yeah, Milan do have a lot of injuries and they're looking really poor. They've only got 1 point in the group, which is very surprising. But I'm not really too fond of their defenders, to be honest. Normally I like Jimenez, but isn't he injured? Let me actually double check this for you. But yeah, he's someone I like because of ball recoveries and stuff like that. But no, he is available. You could maybe consider him, but I'm not a big fan. I mean, he is 5.4 million. So yeah, let's go with defenders. They actually haven't been too good in recent years in UCL Fantasy, but I'd probably say him. But to be honest, yeah. Reece James or Chilwell? I mean, to be honest, I prefer the centre-backs because of ball recoveries. But if you wanted to pick one of those full-backs, it's a tough one. Probably Reece James, but I'm not really a big fan of either of them in that. Best captain for today, for me, is Lewandowski, for sure. Should I take Adeyemi out and Anthony in for a -4 hit? I probably wouldn't take a hit for that. Seawald or Okafor? Okafor, but once again, he is more of a doubt to start. If you just want someone who's definitely going to be in the starting lineup, then go for Seawald. Eder Militao didn't start last game. Will he start this one? I believe so. He didn't start the last one because he played for Brazil during the World Cup qualifiers. Christensen or Eder Militao? Still Militao for me, but I do like Christensen as well. Who would you say is the best replacement for Foden? That's a tough one. Let's actually look now for best replacements for Foden. But I still think Bellingham and Nkunku, they're two of the best options. Jorginho, if you want someone cheaper. But yeah, ultimately, I'd probably say Nkunku or... yeah, I mean, I just forgot who I said. Yeah, Nkunku, but yeah, I'll go for them. Any news on Okafor or Danjuma? I talked about this in actually the community section. Okafor has travelled with the squad, so there's a chance of him starting. With Danjuma, just wait and see for the lineup. We got the early lineup, so there's no need to kind of fret about Danjuma and if he's going to start or not. What defenders would you recommend? I mean, if you want, check out my best wildcard and Limitless team videos. I talked about them there. Militao, I think, is a good option. A Chelsea defender like Rudiger, who's probably going to be the most nailed. And I would probably look at... Thomas Meunier is a decent option, to be fair. But then again, Dortmund have been very poor, if we're being completely honest. And then other than that, looking at other options, I think Mela, facing young boys, could be a really good option. And if not, you can go for Zappacosta for a bit of cheaper cover. And if you want a really expensive player who's got good fixtures, I think Alphonso Davies, if not Richards, as a kind of budget defender for Bayern Munich who could start as a left back. So I would recommend maybe one of those as well. Jordi Alba if you want someone from Barcelona, but I still don't trust them enough to really go for them for my normal team. A Zenit defender like Douglas could be good budget cover. I would say, I mean, De Vrij is unfortunately injured. I mentioned him in my wildcard video. You could go for Skriniar instead, but he is a bit expensive. Mazraoui for sure from Ajax. So those are the sort of options I'd be looking at across the board, to be honest. You could go for an Atletico defender or Angelino, but ultimately I'd probably go for one of the options I discussed earlier, to be honest. Bayern defender Militao, Skriniar. Yeah, I mentioned all of them, Abdullah. Should I get rid of Edson Alvarez? If you have a transfer to spare, I probably would, and I'd get Seawald. Will Haller play? Is he a good choice? Well, there is a chance of him not playing. The same goes for any Ajax player. Unfortunately, I can't tell you if a certain player will start or not. It could be the opposite of what I say. But yeah, there is a risk. You have to bear that in mind when you make these transfers. But I think there is still a chance of him starting, to be honest. Mohamed Salah or Lewandowski? In terms of who do you want for your team overall, I'd still say Lewandowski. For captaincy, remember, they play on different days. So it doesn't matter. Alphonso Davies or Militao? Good question. I still would go for Militao, but I like Davies as well. I have Musa and he's playing young boy. Should I trust him? I'd still keep him, especially if you have another keeper on your bench playing on the other day. Is Trent playing? I I mean, there is a chance of him being rested anyway for the Southampton game, and Liverpool have already qualified. So if you have him, it's a bit of a difficult one because if you do sell him, there's always the risk of him starting and doing very well, but you just don't have to have him. I think you can find value elsewhere. Sane or Lewandowski, captain for me, Lewandowski. Best goalkeeper other than Mendy and Neuer, I think Courtois, and if not, you could look for someone else. Probably, I mean, I would say Handanovic, but he does have Madrid in matchday 6, so ultimately it'd be Courtois and those two you just mentioned, and if not, the options I mentioned in my wildcard video, if you want to check that out. I've already got Meunier and Rudiger, but I'm desperate to replace Laporte. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I'm in a similar situation to you as well. I've got Meunier and yeah, I've got a Chelsea defender, but at least you've got Rudiger who's more likely to start. Adeyemi or Zapata to bring in. I like Zapata a lot actually, but yeah, I mean, Zapata's only for one match day, so if you are willing to make a transfer match day 6, then I'd go for Zapata, but otherwise Adeyemi's better over the two. Aspi or James, normally I'd say Aspi because of ball recoveries, but to be honest, he might not start, but it's a tough one. I normally say Aspi, so I'd stick with him, but I just don't know if he's going to start. What do you think about Davis and Meunier? I think Meunier could do well. He's facing the two teams that he did very well against in match days 1 and 2. As for Davis, I think he is probably the best Bayern defender to choose, other than maybe Richards. But will both of them start in the same team? I'm not so sure. Could be Davis as a left mid, potentially, covering for Gnabry, for example. But ultimately, you'd probably expect Sane to play there. But I think those two are the best to choose from. Captain Sane or Lewandowski? It's up to you, mate, but I'd go for Lewandowski. Any news on Sula and De Vrij? It looks like Sula's going to miss out, and I think De Vrij is injured. So, yeah, it looks like they're going to be out for match day 5. But, of course, you never know. But that's what it's looking like. 3 best attackers for Limitless. I mentioned this already in my Limitless team video if you want to check that out and you can see the whole team. But I would go for either Benzema or Vinicius. I probably would go for Benzema, Lewandowski, and you could even go for Cristiano Ronaldo. But yeah, I'd go for some of those options up front. I'm doing Alvarez to Seaworld and Sula to Militao. Yeah, I'm looking to do something similar to Seed, and I think that's a good set of transfers. Lewandowski and Sane play today. I wish I could answer that, mate, but I think Sane will, due to Gnabry being out with COVID. So Bayern don't really have too many options on the wings. As for Lewandowski, also could play, to be honest, because Choupo-Moting is also another one with COVID, I believe. Do you have doubts about Mazzari? I do. So ultimately, I'm not in a great position because the players I'm looking to bring in, they could also be benched. So yeah, my defence isn't looking great, and I've got a few issues with my team. What about Brozovic? He's a decent option, mate. If you want to go for him, I think he's a very good option, especially in match day 5. How would you update your Limitless team? Just one change, I think. The Skriniar, or was it? I think yeah, I'd keep it the same because in the Limitless team it's pretty much the same. De Vrij is out, but Skriniar's still there. But if you don't want to go for Skriniar, you could maybe go for. I'm not too sure who actually. You could maybe go for Meunier. I think he could be decent, or Angelino. I think Haller or Antony against Besiktas. I think both of them are great options if they start. That's the key thing, though. Are they going to start? Christensen's more likely to start than Aspi, I think. I agree. Nima, I agree. Bruno or Mahrez? I'd probably go for Bruno, but Mahrez is also a good option against PSG. He did well against them last year. Best defender to replace Kimmich? Eder Militao for me. Thank you, Joshua. Players of which teams do you prefer for the last 2 game weeks? If Ajax don't rotate, then definitely them. Real Madrid, I think. Chelsea, because they still have something to play for. They're second at the moment and they haven't qualified. Mbappe thoughts, I think he's a good option. But once again, 2 tough fixtures coming up and PSG don't really look that good as a unit. How do you do 2 fantasy streams? FPL is already so stressful. Yeah, I mean, technically I do 3 streams, but I know what you mean. I cover 2 different fantasy formats. I do the reaction stream and the deadline stream for FPL. And for UCL Fantasy, I just do this. It can be, I don't know about stressful, but it can be a bit draining maybe, because there's no breaks, literally. Normally right now, I'd just be waiting, watching the Champions League normally, enjoying the football, and then making my transfer in FPL. But right now, I'm still focused on UCL Fantasy as well, and I'm actually doing much better here, around 567 in the world. So, at the moment, I am preferring UCL Fantasy. Is Havertz available? He is, I believe, but I probably would just get rid of him. He's not looking good in any fantasy format. Of course, he still can score. And when he is on it, he is a very good player, but I would probably get rid. Blind for Sula. He's a decent option, but I'd rather go for Militao. Aiden says, hi Dylan, my team is Mendy, Destanoglu, Cancelo, Sula, Mazzari, Christensen, Diego Carlos, Salah, Sane, Danjuma, Okafor, Jorginho, Lewandowski, Vinicius, Adeyemi. That's a good set of teams, yeah. 2 free transfers, 0.9 million in the bank. That's a good position to be in. I would get rid of Sula. I think that's the main thing. And I would get Eder Militao. And other than that, you can actually save your other transfer. Obviously, let's wait and see if Danjuma is in the starting lineup, Adam. But if he is, then just save your other transfer and you'll have free heading into matchday 6. And you have a bit more flexibility to deal with rotation. If Danjuma is out, then you could move him on. But to who? I'm not too sure, to be honest, because I'm not a big fan of the options around his price. You probably would want to downgrade, if anything. But yeah, if he is still, if he's playing today, then easy for me. Just get rid of Sula for Militao. If not Mazzari, who? Eder Militao for me, mate. Will Danjuma play? We'll see in the lineup, but I think there is a chance of him starting, but of course he is a doubt. Bruno's not starting, the guy, says Assad. I'm not sure where you got that from. Van der Beek expected to start, says Okta. Actually, what am I saying? Where'd you get that from? Of course, the lineup is probably out, isn't it? Van der Beek expected to start. Yep, that's looking good. Dumfries or Militao? Definitely Militao for me. Captain Ronaldo or Sane? I would honestly go for Sane. Your content's the best. Thank you very much, Alfonso. Very much appreciated. Mazzari for Laporte. I think that's a good option. Yep, I probably would do that. If I wasn't in a position where I had kind of some fires to deal with, I would do that. Ola, do you think Danjuma will play? I mean, we will see in the lineup very soon, unless I'm mistaken and I've gotten it wrong. Let me just double check. Yeah, United play at 5:45. We're going to get the lineups very soon, probably in the next few minutes, because the Champions League lineups come out a bit earlier than 1 hour before the game. But I think there is a chance of him starting, but of course he is a doubt. Ineptia, good pick. I think he is. I probably butchered that name, by the way, but he is a good pick. Davis or Rudiger for this game week? Davis, I think. Davis will play an attack instead of Gnabry. Yeah, potentially. If you have enough money, he is a good option. And on a Limitless, I would definitely go for him. He could actually be the one to replace Skriniar in my best Limitless team. Carlos or Acuna? I'd go for Carlos because of ball recoveries. Should I get Militao or Carvajal? Militao for me. Hi Dylan, how's my team? Pasveer, Christensen, Azpilicueta, Cancelo, Salah, Sane. That's a good team, mate. The only concern is Azpilicueta starting, but if he does, he's a very good option. And the rest looks solid, to be honest, Neskis. Van der Beek expected to start over Bruno Fernandes. That's very interesting. And yeah, Van der Beek could be a nice option, actually. Do you think Kante will start? I think he will. It's an important game for Chelsea. I think he will. Blind or Mazzari? I would go for Mazzari. I have James from Chelsea. I think Aspi will start. What do you think? But the thing is, Aspi could start as one of the centre-backs regardless, with Thiago Silva and Christensen. I mean, I think Rudiger will start, and then one of those two I just mentioned as centre-back, and then it could be Azpilicueta. I don't think Aspi will start as a right wing-back, but of course you never know. And they are facing Juventus, and a win would put them in a good position. It's confirmed Van der Beek starting, Bruno isn't. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm surprised about Bruno not starting. So yeah, if you do have Bruno, he's definitely a sell. Should I captain Benzema or Haller for the next day if Lewandowski blanks? I would go for Benzema. Hola Dylan, Blind or Mazzari, Haller to Ronaldo. I'm on Limitless Wildcard. Good to see you here, mate. I would go for Mazzari for sure, and Haller or Ronaldo, probably Haller because of the price. The only thing I would say that could go against what I just said is that Haller could be benched, and Ronaldo is a definite certainty to start. Captain Lewandowski or Sane? Lewandowski, mate. Bruno or Brozovic? I mean, normally I'd say Bruno, but he's benched apparently, Alan. Will Reece James play? I think so. Brilliance of FC Barcelona. Is Danjuma expected to play? We're going to get the lineups very soon, so I will just expect, wait for that rather than, my opinion on it, because I could be wrong. So Limitless, go for Alphonso Davies? Yes, definitely Alonso. Is Laporte a must transfer out? I don't think he's a must transfer out, but if you have the luxury of getting rid of him, I would. I probably would, yeah, especially if you have Cancelo already. Do you think Trent is a good option as he is in form? He is always a good option. The problem with him is he might not start. Hi Dylan, what are your thoughts on Foden? I think he'll start against PSG. He's still a good option for the remaining 2 match days, but there might be better value elsewhere, like in Nkunku. Will Bruno play today? I mean, it looks like he's not in the lineup. Obviously, let's wait and see for the official confirmation, but it looks like he's going to be benched, and I'd get rid of him. For who? It's a tough one. I would go for Salah, Mane, Nkunku, these sorts of options. Maybe even Mahrez, for example. He does well against PSG, so there are different ones you can go for. Limitless this week or not? If I had it, I probably would use it now, if not in the knockouts. Your defense if you had Limitless? I mean, I made a video about it, mate. So if you want, check that out. And it'd be the exact same as it was back then. The only difference would be I would put Alphonso Davies instead of Skriniar. So that's pretty much it. You got your defense there. Is Bellingham a good option? Yes, he is. Best replacement for Alvarez under 7 million. Definitely Jorginho, Danjuma if he starts. And also I'd be looking at Seawald or one of those cheap options like Barrios. What do you think about Thiago Silva? decent, but I would rather have Christensen, Azpilicueta or Rudiger. Of course, that's under the assumption that they start. Trent or Alfonso, I'd go for Alfonso. Haller or Zuba, Haller for me, but of course he might not start. Jorginho or Danjuma, Jorginho. Alonso out or Pedro Porro out for a defender transfer. Probably Alonso because you have more money to work with. Should I make Sane as a captain? I have Lewandowski also. I'd go for Lewandowski, but it's up to you, mate, Mahmoud. Adeyemi and Sula in to Vinicius and cheap defender. It depends which cheap defender you get, but if it's a good one, then I would go for it. Pasalic or Brozovic, I'd go for Pasalic. Pasveer for Rulli and Militao for Sula. I like them. Of course, if you are willing to make that transfer in goal, then go for it. But I think it is probably worth it because Rulli, yeah, he's probably not going to do too well, at least in matchday 5. Will Thomas Muller play? I believe so, and they do have a lot of injuries and COVID cases by Munich. Who would you change for Sula? Eder Militao, Luis. Mahrez to Nkunku, I think that's a good option, but Mahrez does well against PSG, so bear that in mind. Sula to Mazarin, the Ridge to Meunier, thoughts? I like that, to be honest. Also consider Eder Militao. I'd rather go for him over Meunier, but he is a good option. I have 16.3 million, need a striker and defender. I would go for, I'm not sure which strikers you have already, but I'd go for Vinicius Jr. potentially. And then you can have maybe Alphonso Davies in defence, Canal. Would you take Lautaro Martinez out for a -4? He's blanked every week. Yeah, he's a good player, but he just hasn't been doing it in Champions League. I probably would get rid of him, yeah. It depends who you're looking to get in, but I think there are better options. Salah, Sane, Mane, any chance to start? I think Sane is the best or the most likely to start. The others can start, but it's not completely certain, so it's up to you if you run the risk or not. Best defender for 5 million, I think Mazzauri. Lewa or Sane as captain, Lewandowski. And yeah, any more questions about Lewandowski or Sane captain? For me, it's Lewandowski captain. Where do we see the early lineups? The teams themselves will post it, and also on the UEFA website, they also do it. Best 4.7 and under defender. I'm not really a big fan of most of the kind of cheaper options, but I'd probably look at someone around 4 million, 4.2. So Ngueni is another one you can go for. Limitless goalkeepers, Mendy and Courtois for me. -4 para reemplazar a Gay por Jorginho. I wouldn't take a hit for that, mate. Adeyemi or Haller? If you have enough money, I'd go for Haller, but just bear in mind he might not start. How do I have free transfers? I use one transfer because one carries over. If you only use one transfer, the other one carries over, but you can't store any more than 3 during the groups. Upamecano replacements, Eder Militao, mate. Pasveer Militao for Rulli and Sula. I think that looks good, Nathan, and I already answered your question. Yeah, the lineup's already out. Ilicic a good option, yes, and I talked about him in my Limitless team. Lineups out, yep. Best mid for today. I talked about this in my Limitless team and my wildcard teams if you want to check that out. But yeah, the best midfielder for this week, Salah if he starts, of course, and I think Sane always. I think those two are just the best options in general midfield, if I'm being honest. Best 6.7 million midfielder, Jorginho. Barella out for a -4. It depends who you get in, Stephen. Pasalic, Danjuma or Mahrez. Pasalic, I think, but I like Mahrez too. Pulisic on a Limitless. I think he's a decent option, but I'm not too sure if he's going to start. Christensen or Rudiger. I like both of them. I think Christensen has been better in the Champions League. Gets more ball recoveries, but Rudiger's just safer. And Christensen is a bit cheaper. So very, very neck and neck. I'd go for Christensen, but just bear in mind that he might not start. Alphonso Davies or Cancelo or Trent. Alphonso Davies. When to use the chips. I talked about this before. I would have used my Limitless chip around matchday 2 or 3. And if you use the matchday 2, I would use my wildcard in matchday 3. But if you have both of them now, I would use the wildcard in, let's say, the quarterfinals or the semi-finals, and I'd use the Limitless now in matchday 5. Lewandowski or Salah captain. Once again, remember you can captain people on different days. So if we look here, Salah plays on the 24th, Lewandowski plays on the 23rd. So what you can do there, captain Lewandowski today. If he blanks, captain Salah. Simple. All sorted for you. Is Okafor going to start? I just don't know, mate. He's travelled with the squad, but honestly, I can't tell you something. I'd be lying to you if I said, yeah, he's definitely starting or he's definitely on the bench. I think he will, but I could be wrong. Solo puede poner uno, Foden or Cancelo? Cancelo, sin dudas. Would you consider Sane captain for differential? I would consider it, but I would just go for Lewandowski. I don't really see a need to captain him. Will Danjuma start? The lineups are out, so we should know that very soon. How many managers are there in UCL Fantasy? I think just over 1 million. I'm not too sure. I haven't checked recently, but yeah, it's not as much as FPL. But then again, quite a bit. I think it's quite similar to last year. So let's get the lineups out now. Yeah, I don't think we've got the Villarreal lineup, and I'm not too sure if Danjuma is going to start. But yeah, for United, De Gea is starting in goal. Alex Telles, Maguire, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, Fred, McTominay, Sancho, Van der Beek, Martial, and Ronaldo up front. So Bruno Fernandes on the bench. Yeah, thank you, Henrik. Yeah, lineups are out. What would your transfers be? I already talked about this before. So I could get in, basically make a defender change, get rid of Sula. I could get Militao or Mazzari, and I might make an additional transfer in midfield, depending on if Danjuma starts or not. Danjuma starting. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, I haven't seen... I went on live score, and they haven't really told me, to be honest. They haven't... yeah, put the official lineup for Villarreal. Yeah, Danjuma starts. Yeah, that's good news. I don't think I need to get rid of him then. So I'm either probably going to make one transfer, just the one transfer, and get Mazzari or Eder Militao. And if not, you know, and just save the other transfer. And if not, I'll make 2 free transfers and maybe get rid of Alvarez for Seawold. But to be honest, I am leaning towards maybe saving that extra transfer and having free in matchday 6, because there's going to be more rotation than even now in matchday 5, which obviously isn't ideal. Thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in, and if you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. And we've got a lot of people in the chat today, as always, with UCL Fantasy, which is very much appreciated. And you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM. Yeah, we've got over 300 people watching in matchday 5. I think at this time last year when I did these streams, not as many people were engaged in UCL Fantasy, especially towards the end of the group stages, but a lot of you playing now, so very much appreciate to all the subscribers, all the channel members, and everyone who's sending super chats, and everyone who's been liking the video and sharing it. It very much helps the channel, and very much appreciate as always. And let's get back to my team and back to your questions. Of course, we've gone through a lot of them already, and still around an hour or so left for the deadline and of answering your questions. I'll be locking in my transfers live, so you'll see which transfers I make as I try to get into the top 500, but to be honest, it's looking very difficult, and I've got a lot of fires to put out. But at least Danjuma is starting. Hopefully Okafor does as well. He travelled with the squad, so there is a good chance of him starting. Alvarez is suspended, and Sula is out, it looks like, so he's looking like the one to make way, and I might save my other transfer heading into matchday 6. Messi or Ronaldo? For UCL Fantasy, I would go for Ronaldo, and overall, I think Messi. I'm using my Limitless team this week, saw your video, but what to do for Bruno? Good question. So let's actually look at the best midfielders you can go for. So Sane and Kunku, I would still go for maybe Salah or Mane. Obviously, it's very risky. One of them could be benched, but if you are willing to take that risk, go for it. I would consider Mahrez. I know he's facing PSG, but he's got a good record against them, and he's done very well in the Champions League this season. So I would consider Mahrez as a replacement. If you're not really feeling it, Gnabry would have been another one I would have mentioned, but of course he's out, it looks like. So Chiesa's facing Chelsea, otherwise he'd be a very good option. So as you can see, we're kind of limited at the moment with all these injuries and fixtures. They're not looking great. Foden's still a decent one to go for, but I would rather go for Mahrez, if I'm being completely honest, on a Limitless. Other than that, it's difficult. You know, you're looking at the options and they're not looking too good. Maybe Paulinho, but he is facing Dortmund after all. But then again, you know, Dortmund aren't the greatest defensively. But I think Paulinho could be a good one, if not Mahrez. Once again, though, the fixtures aren't particularly the greatest. You could maybe consider Marco Reus or Leon Goretzka. I think both of them are good options. But yeah, those are pretty much the main ones I'd be looking at. And if we sort this out by price, yeah, still not really too keen. Maybe Sancho, but he is facing Villarreal. I probably wouldn't go there. But yeah, I think the same as before, but one of those options I just mentioned to replace Bruno Fernandes, who is benched. Ilicic is actually another one who I actually mentioned in my Limitless team video, and Pasalic. So consider those two as well. Militao's the best, crazy ball recovery record. Yeah, I'm thinking of getting him in instead of Mazzari. The only thing that I like about getting Mazzari in is that he gives me more money in the bank to actually use my free transfers in for matchday 6. But then again, it's only a 0.6 million difference. Woba or Zappacosta? I'd go for Zappacosta. Woba, obviously, a lot of people are looking at him now, but he scored a free kick, which he doesn't really tend to do. Sula replacement, Eder Militao, mate, as I said before. Can you make a Limitless team? I already made one, mate. I made a Limitless team video if you want, check that out. And the only differences I would make is instead of Bruno, I would go for maybe an Atalanta midfielder like Ilicic or Pasalic. And in defence, I would go for Alphonso Davies in for Skriniar. Munir to Cancelo for a -4. Is it worth it? I wouldn't do that, mate. Alaba or Militao? Pasalic or Ilicic? Pasalic is in much better form in Serie A, but Ilicic is more of a proven UCL fantasy asset, so it's a difficult one. I think both of them are in for returns. They have a good chance anyway. It doesn't mean they are guaranteed it, but go for either one of them. It's 50-50 to be honest. If you're looking at form, it has to be Pasalic, but Ilicic maybe is a bit more reliable in UCL fantasy. Yeah, Alan, I already answered this question, mate. Is Gonzalez a good option for Limitless? I think so, but I probably would go for those Atalanta midfielders. I have Depay and Benzema. Which attacker should I go for? Either Vinicius Jr., Adeyemi, or Anthony, actually. Because you don't have Ajax cover, I would consider Anthony. If not Zapata, he's actually looking really good against Young Boys. Is Melo a good option? Yes, he is, mate. From Atalanta, Ilicic, Pasalic in midfield, Zapata up front, and in defence, either Zappacosta or Melo. Cristiano or Vinicius? Vinicius for me. Tadic or Zapata? Zapata for me. What is the lineup for Bayern? Yeah, good question. Let me actually go through that now. Hopefully LiveScore have it, but people in the chat probably will answer that already. Let's see. So is it confirmed? No, it's just possible line. Oh yeah. So Bayern's is confirmed. Neuer in goal, Alphonso Davies, Hernandez, Nianzou, Pavard in defence, Tolisso and Goretzka, Koeman, Müller, Sane and Lewandowski. So they're all starting. So if we actually refresh UCL Fantasy, they will show us the people who are starting. Okay, no, they haven't, but normally they have like a green sign for those who are starting. So Danjuma, Sane and Salah, they're all starting here, which is good news for us. But yeah, the Bayern lineup, I just read it out. Dynamo Kiev, I don't think anyone is particularly interested in what they have to offer, to be honest. What do you think about Jorginho? I think he's a good option, and I was considering getting him in for Danjuma, but because he's starting, I might just keep Danjuma. Nkunku or Danjuma? Nkunku for me. Sula to Tsimikas, thoughts on what to do with Foden? I think it's risky because it could be Robertson starting to build up his fitness again. And what to do with Foden? Maybe sell him, but you don't have to because he's probably going to start and he could do well against PSG. Brozovic or Mahrez? I'd go for Mahrez, mate. Mazzari over Davis? I would go for Davis on a Limitless over Mazzari, but if it's for your normal team, then that's where it gets a bit interesting. I think Mazzari offers better value for money, but I think Davis could outscore him in the final two, so I'd go for Davis. Best Dest replacement? I'm not sure how much money he costs, to be honest. I'm guessing he's around 5 million, so let me double check this. 5.1, I think Mazzari is a good option to replace him, to be honest. Adeyemi to Zapata, I think that's a good option. Antonio or Alphonso Davis? I'm guessing you're saying Rudiger. I would go for Davis. While Sane plays, I literally didn't get him in my Game Week 3 wildcard because of rotation. Yeah, but that's the thing though. Sane's been in such great form recently. He might have been benched in Matchday 5 if Gnabry was available, but Bayern Munich have so many COVID cases and problems that's why Sane and Lewandowski owners are a bit lucky in that regard. Should I go for Donny van de Beek for Alvarez? I think that's a good option. Let me actually check Van de Beek's price. I've never actually considered him all season. Yeah, I think he's very cheap, isn't he? I just put 5.4 million. Yeah, he could actually be a really good option. I'd be very tempted by Van de Beek. I think, yeah, I'd go for it. Is Ziyech starting? Honestly, mate, I can't tell you. The lineups aren't out for Chelsea. But there is a chance. But then again, in the Champions League, he has been starting more often than not. Trying to look at what is probably going to be the Chelsea lineup. It could be Mount, Ziyech and Havertz up front, but we'll see. Okay, refresh your team now. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't actually refresh or put the greens earlier. Yeah, no, I refreshed it again, and yeah, it's still not green, but it doesn't really matter anyway. I know who's starting and who isn't. I'm going to just go through the Villarreal lineup very soon because I didn't do that because the lineup wasn't out on LiveScore, unfortunately. So let's try get the Villarreal lineup just to officially confirm Danjuma in the starting 11. Yeah, confirm lineup. So Jerónimo Rulli in goal, Juan Foyth, Albiol, Pau Torres, Estupiñán, Parejo, Capue, Trigueros, Pino, Moy Gomez and Danjuma there for Villarreal. So very interesting, and I already read out the Manchester United lineup. So Danjuma is starting, great news. I was quite confident of him starting, but of course not completely sure. That's why I waited up until now, and I think I am looking to... Oh yeah, Havertz is out, good point. Thank you very much, Kenny. And honestly, with Havertz, I'd probably get rid of him anyway, whether it's UCL Fantasy or FPL. Liverpool lineup is out. How? How is the Liverpool lineup out? Yeah, there's only 2 games, I think, at 5:45. But maybe there is a leak or something for Liverpool's game. But that's tomorrow, isn't it? Liverpool play tomorrow. Who's your replacement for Sula? Either Eder Militao or Mezzauri. I think Eder Militao would be the better option, but I'm thinking also in terms of value. Should I sell Alvarez or just keep? If you have a spare transfer, I'd definitely be looking to sell him, but you could also save that transfer heading into matchday 6 and you'd have free transfers to make. But if you are looking to sell him, I'd look at Van der Beek, Okafor. Oh my God, Jesus, voice crack. Van der Beek, Okafor or Seawold. And also Barrios, of course. Pavard or Hernandez from Bayern? Probably Hernandez, but I'm not a big fan of either. But of course, they both could get ball recovery points. I think Pavard will offer you more attacking potential, but Hernandez could offer you more ball recoveries. Yeah, exactly. The game is tomorrow. Tienes buen acento? Me tomó por sorpresa. Yeah, Santiago, I'm from Argentina, that's why I've got dual nationality, but yeah, I pretty much speak it all the time at home. Otherwise, yeah, I probably speak horrible Spanish. I mean, my Spanish is quite average anyway, especially compared to my English, but yeah. Diego Jota has taken part in Liverpool's open training session today. Andy Robertson and Jordan Henderson both involved too. Yeah, that's what I mean. So I wouldn't go for Tsimikas or Robertson. You just don't know who's going to start there. Henderson is kind of an iffy one. I'd rather go for other options around that price. And as for Diego Jota, I wouldn't get him in anyway. Because even if he is training now, he might be rested for the Southampton game at the weekend. Blind or Mezzauri? Once again, I go for Mezzauri. Yeah, Bruno's benched. Will he play? He might come on from the bench, but I would get rid, honestly. I wouldn't get him in. Klopp going to rotate the team. Watch all pre-lineup. Yeah, I think he will rotate, but getting rid of Salah is very risky, to be honest. Using Limitless, best Bruno replacement? I think Ilicic, Pasalic, if not Mahrez. I'd go for one of those, Raja, like I said before. Thanks to the one who said Van der Beek. I was wondering who should I get. Yeah, that's a good option. Davis or Pavard? Definitely Davis if you can afford it. What do you think of Brozovic? I think he's a decent option, but I'd rather go for Pasalic. Why don't you use David Alaba? He's a good option, but I'd just rather go for Eder Militao. He gets more ball recovery points than Alaba. Of course, you never know what's going to happen, but I think Eder Militao is a better option. Have Limitless available. I would only use it this week if you're not in a good position regardless. If you're happy with your team at matchday 5, you don't have to use the Limitless now and you can use it in the knockout stages. Is Okafor fit? He has travelled with the squad, so I don't know if he's fully fit, but he is fit enough, I think, to at least be on the bench. 5.5 defender, easy. Eder Militao for me. Laporte for Davis or for Mezzauri? I get Davis in Alonso. I'm playing my Limitless. Any other good options in midfield? I already answered that question, Toby. Pasalic, Ilicic, Mahrez. I'd go for one of those potentially. Kimmich going to play or not? I don't think so, Sange. It looks like he's going to be out. He's got COVID. Same with Gnabry, I think, Choupo-Moting and a few others. Kimmich replacements. I think Alphonso Davies is a like-for-like, a good replacement. He's starting, confirmed, easy. Best Ajax forward, either Haller or Anthony. I think Anthony might offer you better value for money, but who's going to start between them? One of them could be dropped, if not both of them, because they're going to be rested for the Eredivisie. They've already qualified, but then again, they can secure top spot, I believe, still. So I think they still have an incentive to actually play a strong team. There is no one who can replace Salah in the lineup. I agree. But once again, you've got Origi and Minamino. Minamino can play on both wings, but I think he's better on the left, if I'm not mistaken. So it could be a case of Salah, Origi, Minamino up front. If not, it could be Diego Jota coming in. But then again, he's just suffered a knock. But yeah, thank you for the person who mentioned the Jota news, because I'm actually thinking of getting him in for FPL, actually. Haller for Adeyemi, I think that's a good option, but you don't have to do that. Good midfielders playing today. Van der Beek, I think. Sane, of course. 2 players who are confirmed to play. Any Bayern defender in place of Sula? I think Nianzu, potentially, or Hernandez. I'd go for one of them. Alright, finally. Yeah, finally it's on green. Let's see. Lovely green. You know, it's very reassuring seeing all those greens. But yeah, we've got, 50 minutes left, pretty much, for the deadline. So I am going to be confirming my transfers very soon. I don't want to leave it late on. So I've got a conundrum here. I'm going to put a poll out, actually, in the chat. So thank you very much. Be sure to actually vote in here. So this is going to be kind of like which transfers would you go for. I've already put a poll out on my normal YouTube channel earlier on, but I think it's best if I just stick with the one free transfer. Actually, if I have enough money to move Alvarez on for Van der Beek, which unfortunately I don't think I do, unless I get Mezzauri. I am very, very tempted to get Van der Beek in. I know it's very risky. He might not even start against young boys, but you know, he could be a really good option. Let me actually check. He's probably, yeah, he came off the bench, didn't he, in both games? 3 minutes against Atalanta. Jesus, this guy deserves much better. But yeah, 5 million. I could get Mazzari in instead of Militao. I mean, that's actually looking pretty decent, to be fair. Yeah, unfortunately 0.5 million off, so Mazzari could be decent. Let's see. I'm spelling him wrong, aren't I? Hello? Yeah, there we go. Mazzari. Ooh, look at that. Yeah, 0.1 million left. So let me put this poll out. Let me know what you would do in this position. Which transfers would you make? So Van der Beek is kind of opened opened the spectrum, if you can say that. So Sula and Alvarez to, let's get this right. So Mazzari and, let's see. Yeah, 1 second. I'll get through your questions very soon. Yeah, Mazzari and I'm literally blanking here. Van der Beek. Jesus Christ, yeah. Character limit. Okay, so yeah, and then if not, it will be just Sula to Mazzari himself. And then, yeah. And then Sula to Eder Militao. And the final option, Jesus, there's a lot of options here, isn't it? Sula and Alvarez to Eder Militao and Seawold. Yeah, just put it in the towel. There we go. Apologies, lads. I'll be getting here very soon. Very soon. There we go. I think that should be it. So which transfers would you make? So Sula plus Alvarez to Mazzari and Van der Beek. Sula to Mazzari, Sula to Militao, or Sula plus Alvarez to Militao and Seawold. A lot of different, connotations. Not connotations, what am I saying? I'm just chatting rubbish at the moment. All right, here you go. The transfers. That is what I'm looking to do. Best 7 million player. Depends which position. I'm guessing you're saying midfield. I think Jorginho could be a good one. Danjuma, of course, has been very good. I like Paslic if you can afford him for a little bit more. Nianzou as a differential thoughts. That's actually a really good shout. Let me actually check his price. Nianzou. 4 million, yeah. So he actually played only, what, how many minutes? Oh, he actually started against Benfica and, yeah, conceded 2 goals. Just the 3 ball recoveries, which isn't really... Not really too happy about that, because what I want from my players is, if they don't keep a clean sheet, can they get some ball recovery points at least? And, I mean, to be fair, he did get 1 ball recovery point, but not that impressive. But a Bayern Munich clean sheet against Dynamo Kiev isn't really out of, the stretch of the imagination. The problem there is that they have a lot of injuries and they are a bit depleted, so I wouldn't be surprised if Dynamo Kiev do score. I don't believe, actually, Dynamo Kiev have scored so far. Are you going to replace Okafor? I think he might start. He's travelling with a squad, so I might just keep him. Best limitless mids. I made a video on it, mate. And to replace Bruno, I would go for Paslic, Ilicic, or Mahrez to replace him. Captain Sonny Lewandowski. Once again, the same thing as I said before. Lewandowski for me. It's up to you who you go for. Foden and Adeyemi to Jorginho and Vinicius, or Aspi and Adeyemi to Nianzou and Vinicius. Great question. I would go for Jorginho and Vinicius, to be honest, mate. Origi didn't play against Arsenal because he was in quarantine, so I don't think he'll play tomorrow. Thank you very much. And actually, that makes things more open, because Jota's back in training. You've got Salah, you've got Mane, and you've got Minamino. One of them has to be dropped, but it kind of narrows it down a little bit. Mela, Mazzari, or Militao. Militao for me, but I like the other 2 as well. Dylan, Bellingham or Royce? Bellingham for me. Ajax attackers sure to start? Not sure to start, but it can happen. I think Ajax are that type of team, and Ten Hag is that type of manager to continue to play that strongest team. But then again, one of them could be dropped easily. Will Thiago Silva start? I wish I could answer that, mate, but the way I see it, will be Chilwell and Reece James as the wing-backs. It will be either Azpilicueta or Thiago Silva, and the other 2 will be Christensen and Antonio Rudiger. Davis for Azpilicueta, I think that's a good move, mate. And as for my position, I don't think I'm able to afford that, if I'm being completely honest. Is Reece James playing? I can't tell you that for sure, but I think he will. Aspi or Christensen? Probably Christensen, but I like Aspi too if he starts. Wait, Origi is not playing. Obviously, I'm not sure if it's officially confirmed, but yeah, he didn't even feature at all against Arsenal, didn't he? So yeah, I think he's got something on there as well. What midfielder should I go with? A 7 million budget. Let's see. Price. Let's sort this out. I think Van der Beek. I know he's 5.4 million, but I would be very tempted by Van der Beek. Yeah, as for these options, maybe Bernardo Silva is decent. He's been very good this season, especially in the Premier League. Fantasy-wise, anyway. Obviously, he's always a good player. I'd consider one of those two, actually. Yeah, I'd go for one of those. And if not, Jorginho, of course, just to get someone simple. Best 6.3 or less mid has to be Jorginho for me. Best 5.5 and under mid defender already got Davis, Aspie, Eder Militao, Noah. Think about Barrios from Zenit instead of Van der Beek. Yeah, I think with Barrios, he just offers you that safety net of 4 to 5 points every single time, unless he gets sent off, which he's very much capable of doing. Davis or Tsimikas? Definitely Davis. Time for Roussillon to go. You don't have to get rid of him, but I probably would. I don't really like Wolfsburg. Will Salah play? I think he will, but I might be wrong. Mazzari or Blind? Mazzari, I answered this question already, mate. Is Havertz injured? If so, I replace him. I think he is a doubt. He's got a little knock, but either way, I'd get rid of him. Whether he's fit or not, I'd just get rid of him. Should I do Alvarez and Sula to Eder Militao and Van der Beek? I probably would, Drago. Yeah, I wish I had enough money to do that, and then I probably would. But otherwise, I might just save the transfer. So let's see. Most people are saying do Sula and Alvarez to Mazzari and Van der Beek. 42% of the vote. A lot of people on the Van der Beek hype train. I was actually prepared to do just Sula to either Militao or Mazzari, and then save that other transfer heading into matchday 6. And to be honest, I think that's the most likely. I'm either going to make 2 free transfers, so the highly voted set of transfers there, as you see on screen, do that, or if not, Sula to Militao. Good 6.4 million midfielders, Jorginho for me, and if not Van der Beek, I'd go for Van der Beek. I think it's worth the risk. Diaz or Trent, to be honest, normally I'd say Trent, but I'm not sure if he's going to start. Salah or Bernardo Silva? Salah for me, but he might not start. Mazzari plus Pasalic or Davis and Van der Beek? That's a really tough one. I like both of them a lot. I probably would say Mazzari and Pasalic, but I like the other duos a lot. And to be honest, that could be better in matchday 5 specifically, and even matchday 6 actually, looking at Young Boys fixture for Van der Beek. But is he going to start in that matchday? We just don't know. Van der Beek, good on wildcard, I'm guessing you're saying. Yeah, I think so. Obviously, just bear in mind in matchday 6 he might not start. Is Alphonso Davies a good replacement? Yes, mate, he is. I think it's probably one of the best replacements you can get, if not Eder Militao. Messi or Haaland? Haaland is injured, mate, so Messi. And if you're on about overall, still Messi. My defence, Skriniar, Davis, Mela, Militao, Cancelo. Should I change any? I think that's good, to be honest. You could maybe, let's see. I would maybe consider a Chelsea defender, but I'm guessing you have Mendy already and got, yeah, so you don't have to change anything. But if you are considering a change, still Mazzari could come in for Skriniar or Cancelo or Thomas Meunier. Best 6 million or less defender, Eder Militao. Can you stack free transfers? You can only stack 1. So you can have free transfers heading into match day 6, but that's only if you use just the 1 transfer this week. Will Mbappe and James play? I think so, mate. I think both of them will play. I'm more sure of Mbappe, though. And yeah, there's no reason for Mbappe to be benched. Double Chelsea defence, Reece James and Christensen. I think that's fine. Once again, though, with Reece James, I don't think he's as good of an asset in UCL Fantasy compared to FPL, because ball recoveries make Christensen, Rudiger, Aspilicueta, etc. better options than Reece James and Chilwell. Alvarez to Van der Beek or Chiesa to Nkunku Pasalic? Great question. Thing is, Chiesa is facing Chelsea, isn't he? I probably would do Chiesa to Nkunku, to be honest. Is Paulinho from Sporting a good choice? Yes, he is. I talked about him before already, Sadindra, and I think he is a good option, but of course, he's got kind of tough fixtures to wrap up the group. Will Mbappe and James play? Already answered this, mate. No need to spam the chat. Davis or Skriniar? Davis for sure. Sapacosta, Nianzou, Acuna. I'm not a big fan of Acuna, but still good options, especially Nianzou this week and Sapacosta. But once again, does Nianzou get too many ball recoveries? Based on what we've seen so far, not so much. What would you? Who would you replace, Casemiro or De Gea? Not really impressed with either of them, but probably De Gea. Oh, you have Militao already. I would probably go for either Mazzari or Thomas Meunier is decent. Yeah, Chelsea defender if you don't have him already. Christensen or Rudiger. Will Foden play? I think so, Nasir. I can't tell you that for sure. Pavard versus Militao, definitely Militao. Nianzou or Roussillon, Nianzou. Best budget goalkeeper so I can afford Salah. If you want, check out my best wildcard team. I went with the Lille goalkeeper. If you want someone for this week specifically, Musso is decent. Yeah, and if not, Pasveer, 4.9 million goalkeeper. I think he could be good. Okafor or Van der Beek. Tough one, isn't it? At the moment, it's looking like Van der Beek, especially if he starts in matchday 6 too. Diego Carlos, he would be my defender of choice from Sevilla, but I don't like Sevilla's defence right now. Who would you replace Gnabry with? Sane, definitely. If you don't have Sane, get Sane. Will Okafor play? Once again, I mean, I wish I had, this intuition to tell you if he's definitely will or not. I think he will start, but I might be wrong. Ongwene or Nianzou. Probably Ongwene, but Nianzou obviously plays in a better team. He could keep the clean sheet. Race from Sporting, he's decent, but I'm not really looking at him. Sell Bellingham and Sula for who? You don't have to sell Bellingham, mate, but for Sula, sell him for Militao. Sula to Militao and Barrios to Van der Beek, that looks good, but you don't have to get rid of Barrios, mate. I think he's the decent option. Alaba or Skriniar, I probably would go with Alaba, I guess, but Eder Militao would be my pick. Okafor or Van der Beek, probably Van der Beek, but I like Okafor too. Should I keep Robertson or release him? I'd probably release him for Davis, mate. Thank you very much for the super chat, Kat. And I think you've done that before already, so very much appreciated. You didn't have to. If not using Limitless today in matchday 6 or in group rounds, thank you very much for your super chat, mate. I would probably use it in the knockout stages because in matchday 6 there's going to be even more rotation compared to matchday 5, so it's going to be a complete mess. Obviously, you can still do very well with your Limitless in matchday 6. I believe I used my wildcard in matchday 6 last year, and it was actually one of my better weeks. Surprisingly, despite how much rotation there was. But I would probably use it in the knockouts. But then again, let's see how things develop. If there is still a lot in the air and there's some very good players and teams you can target on the Limitless in matchday 6, then maybe reconsider. But right now, I would say knockouts. Thank you very much for your super chat. Skriniar from Inter says Sergio, fair enough. I think he's a good option. I have 6.1 million for defender. Any suggestions? Let me just double check this, but I think he is 6.1. Yeah, Alphonso Davies or Militao for me in your case. Van der Beek or Danjuma? Probably Van der Beek, but then again, Danjuma has just been so consistent this year, hasn't he? Alba or Ferland Mendy? Alba for me. What about Blind? He's a good option, but I just rather would have Mazauri. I have 6.1 million for a defender. Any suggestions? Yeah, I already answered this, mate. Is rank 20k good? Yeah, it is good, and you can get even better. There's still a long way to go. Mazzari and Cancelo in for Carlos and Sula. I like that, to be honest. Obviously, with Cancelo, though, you could just go for Davis. I think Davis has a better fixture, so I would go for Davis instead off Mane. Why is Sula out? I think he's ill, actually. I think he's got COVID, if I'm not mistaken, and if not, it's just an injury, but it looks like he's going to be out. And how long is he out for? I'm not so sure, but enough for me to get rid of him, because obviously he missed out in matchday 4 as well, and in matchday 6 there could be rotation regardless with Bayern Munich. Should I keep Danjuma? If you're using a Limitless, I would get rid of Danjuma. I wouldn't have him, but he is a good option regardless. Adeyemi or Haller? Probably Haller, but I like Adeyemi, of course. Is Gravenberch from Ajax a good option? I think so, but I'd rather go for Anthony, Haller up front, and of course in defence, Pasveer and Mazauri, and of course Blind. Is De Vrij injured? Yes, he is. Is Azpilicueta playing? I wish I could answer that. I think he might start. It's going to be between him and Thiago Silva, I think, because I think Reece James will start as the right wing-back. What about Kante or Van der Beek? I'd still go for Van der Beek, but obviously Kante is probably more reliable in terms of ball recoveries. Why does it keep showing Danjuma and Okafor as doubtful? It wouldn't do that now with Danjuma because he's starting, so don't worry about that. Okafor is doubtful, but he has travelled with the squad. Davis or Mazauri? I'd go for Davis if you have enough money. Foden replacements, already have Mahrez. I'd go for Nkunku. Is Danjuma playing for real? Yeah, he's in the starting lineup, mate. Let me double check this for you, but I'm pretty sure he is in the starting lineup. I went on live score and it said confirmed lineup and Danjuma was in there. So yeah, he's in the starting lineup, and people in the chat also said the same thing, multiple people. I'll now go to Villarreal's Twitter page just to make completely sure. You don't want to get these sort of things wrong. We've got 41 minutes left for the deadline, so thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. Remember to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Thank you very much to Kat once again for the super chat earlier. It's very much appreciated. Did Villarreal not have an official page or something? That's very weird, isn't it? But let me check. I think Squawker will have it anyway. and maybe I'll just check Google. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Danjuma is starting, so no need to worry about that. Alba or Skriniar? Tough one, to be honest. I think Alba just has more attacking potential, so I'd probably go for him, but Skriniar probably a bit more likely to keep the clean sheet, so it's up to you how you want to play that. Davis or Militao? Looking at the next two match days as a whole, I'd rather have Militao, but for this match day specifically, definitely Davis. Yeah, Davis is Danjuma is starting, and by the way, for anyone who's confused about Danjuma if he's starting or not, the other name they use for him is Grunewald, so that might be why you haven't seen him in the starting lineup, but he is starting, mate. Okafor is out for 3 weeks. I don't know where you got that from, mate, but he has trouble with the squad. But obviously, if you do have a reliable source, then let me know. Adeyemi for Vinicius, but using everything in my bank. If you don't have Real Madrid cover, especially in attack, I would go for it. Adeyemi or Ronaldo? I mean, they're completely different price points. They're kind of difficult to compare. Ronaldo will probably outscore Adeyemi, but Adeyemi offers better value for money, I think. It depends what you want to do with your team, but if money isn't an issue, go for Ronaldo. Nkunku or Foden? Nkunku for me. Transfer out Jorginho or Okafor? Okafor probably. I'd probably keep Jorginho. Halle, Adeyemi or Antony? I would go for either Halle or Antony, but once again, they could be benched, and I think Antony might offer you the better value for money. Will Chilwell start? I mean, I wish I could tell you this for sure. I think he will, but maybe he won't. Jorginho out for Van der Beek. I probably would keep Jorginho, to be honest. He's on penalties as well. Meunier or Christensen? I already have Reece James, though. I'd go for Meunier, but I like Christensen a lot. Mazzari or Trent Alexander-Arnold? Mazzari for me. Ilicic, Pasalic or Nkunku? Maybe Nkunku, to be honest, but I do like the other two as well. Leroy Sané captaincy is fine, Brandon, but I just rather would have Lewandowski. Adeyemi or Antony? I would rather go for Antony, but I like Adeyemi too. CR7 or Benzema? Definitely Benzema. Jorginho or Danjuma? I would go for... I mean, it's a tough one. It's very tough. I'd probably go for Jorginho, but I like Danjuma as well. Bring in Sane or Nkunku? Sane for sure. Is Okafor injured? He's doubtful, Dylan. I've seen a lot of people with Dian as the name, my bad. But yeah, he's doubtful, but he has trouble with the squad, and there is a chance of him starting, but of course we just don't know that for sure. Is Alonso playing? I think it's Chilwell, but I could be wrong. Alonso or Tsimikas? Probably neither for me, to be honest. Obviously, both of them could start, but at the same time, they could easily be benched. Take a hit for Pavard for Sula? I wouldn't take a hit, to be honest, but if you take a hit for Sula to Davis or an attacking fullback or someone who can get a lot of ball recoveries, then yeah, definitely for me. Thoughts on Pedro Goncalves from Sporting as a differential? I think he's good. I mentioned him before, and I think he could be decent. Same with Paulinho. But once again, I probably wouldn't go there myself, but I think he's a decent differential to go for. I think the remaining fixtures aren't particularly the greatest. I'm seeing a few questions about Alexandra, so let me check. So, would you get rid? Obviously, if you have a spare transfer and you don't have too many fires to put out, then I would get rid of Alexandro for either Eder Militao or Davis if you have enough money. Would you keep Hudson-Odoi? No, I wouldn't. I'd sell him. Royce or Coman? I'd go for Coman. Limitless squad, once again, I made a video. I wouldn't change anything really apart from Skriniar and Bruno, like I said before. So everything else would be the exact same. I wouldn't change anything else. The only changes I'd make, which I already discussed, is instead of Skriniar, I'd go for Davis, and in midfield, I would probably go for either Mahrez, Ilicic, or Pasalic in for Bruno Fernandes. That's literally the only two changes, so yeah. Who to replace Bruno Limitless? Pasalic, Ilicic, or Mahrez. Any one of them, I think. But of course, there's different ones. Sancho, if you want a like-for-like replacement. Or even Van der Beek himself. Does Azpilicueta have a chance of playing? Of course he does. But is he definitely going to start? No, he's not definitely going to start. It's going to be up in the air. Have both Alonso and Aspi. Should I get rid of one? There's always a risk. Whoever you get rid of could be the one who starts. But I'd probably get rid of Alonso. Van der Beek or Pedro Goncalves? Probably Van der Beek for me. Van der Beek or Danjuma? It's difficult, I think. Danjuma's just been far better this season, but Van der Beek looked very impressive against Watford. I'd probably go for Van der Beek, but if you have Danjuma already, don't get rid of him. Dortmund midfielder, Royce is a good option, and Bellingham is my pick of the bunch. Vanaken, yeah, or should I say Vanken? He's been very good this season, very consistent, only blanked in matchday 4, but I wouldn't get him in right now. How many points did you get last matchday? I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I think I got 102 and I'm 580 or 67 overall rank. Why not switch Okafor for Van der Beek since he's doubtful? Because he could start, and if he does, he could do very well. And also, the player I'm getting rid of for Van der Beek is Alvarez, who is definitely out, whilst Okafor has a chance of starting, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if there was a case of, for example, I could get rid of Okafor for Van der Beek, and let's just do this. So yeah, I mean, I'd be 0.1 million off from getting Militao, who I prefer over Mazraoui. Otherwise, I probably would do what you just suggested there, but yeah, it's looking a bit tough. So as for the poll, 40% of you have said I should do Sula and Alvarez to Mazraoui and Van der Beek, whilst 24% have said Sula to Militao is the best way to go. So that's the second highest. And then 18% for both Sula to Mazraoui or Sula plus Alvarez to Militao and Seawold, which actually was getting the most votes earlier on. The Sula to Alvarez, or Sula and Alvarez to Militao and Seawold, that was actually the most popular vote earlier on my channel. Haller or Adeyemi? I think Haller, but once again, there's a chance of him not playing, or at least not starting. Should I play wildcard this week? If you're not happy with your normal team, then I probably would. But otherwise, you could just save the wildcard for the knockouts. Is it true Red Bull Salzburg confirmed that Okafor is out for 3 weeks? I would check that, but if he is out for 3 weeks, then I would probably reconsider and make 2 free transfers, because then I'll be a bit light in terms of squad depth. But yeah, I'm not sure. If anyone can actually confirm this in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. But I am searching this up as we speak, trying to get clarification. But Okafor was in the travelling squad, that's the thing. So I'm not too sure about that. Yeah, I'd find it a bit strange, the fact that he's travelled. Yeah, I don't know. I find that really weird. And I haven't seen anything about him being out for sure. So yeah, if anyone has any official confirmation, let me know. I'll try to go to Red Bull Salzburg's site now. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure, to be honest. Any news on Azpilicueta? There's no news, to be honest, but it's either going to be him or Thiago Silva starting, I think. Christensen and Rudiger should be starting. Also, Chilwell and Reece James, of course. You never know, but that's what you would be thinking. Yeah, I haven't seen anything from Red Bull Salzburg, to be honest, in regards to Okafor. So I'm not too sure. Silva or Diego Carlos? Diego Carlos for me, but I don't really like either of them. I'd rather just go for, if you're talking about Thiago Silva, I'd rather go for Antonio Rudiger or Christensen. Foden, Kimmich and Lukaku to Salah, Mazraoui and Adeyemi. That looks pretty fine to me. I probably would look to do that. But obviously, just bear in mind with Salah, there is a chance of him not starting. Same with Mazraoui. Is it okay I change Sula to Pavard? It is okay, but would I do it? I probably would prefer going to Eder Militao. Hans Vanaken or Bellingham? Bellingham for me. Yeah, Aravind, if you want to see the midfielders I'd use on a Limitless, check out my Limitless team video. The only change I'd make is getting one of those options I keep talking about, Pasalic, Ilicic, or Mahrez in for Bruno Fernandes. Danjuma or Jorginho? Jorginho, I guess, but it's very tough. Is Haller starting tomorrow? I wish I could answer that for sure, but I think he will. But then again, I could be wrong. Should I reinvest in Nkunku or Benzema, considering dropping Vinicius and or Havertz? I would not drop Vinicius, but I would drop Havertz, and I'd get Nkunku, mate. Mahrez or Salah? Salah, but obviously Salah could actually be benched. Sula and Roussillon to Eder and Blind, or Sula to Blind and Alvarez to Van der Beek? Good question, mate. I probably would go for Eder and Blind. I'd do that, but I like the other one as well. Should I change Kobel or Hudson? Probably Hudson-Odoi. The pie out for who? Once again, I'd go for Vinicius Jr., I think. Yeah, thank you very much, Rock and Roll. Best defenders for next 2 match days. Already have Militao, Aspi and Mazraoui. That's a tough one. Let me check the fixtures once again. So you've got Mazraoui, Militao and Aspi already. I think Davis from Bayern Munich is a good option. If not, I think Thomas Meunier is also another one. I know he's been very poor recently. Other than that, yeah, I don't really like most of the options because they're either rotation risks, their teams are already qualified, or the fixtures aren't really particularly that great, to be honest. So I'd be looking at those sorts of options instead. Yeah, even Mailer potentially, but he's mainly good for matchday 5, not matchday 6 in particular. But yeah, one of those options for sure that I just mentioned. Yeah, we've got 30 minutes left for the deadline, so I'm actually going to be finalising my transfers very soon and have it ready. And then yeah, be able to sort out my team. Militao, Mazraoui, Militao, mate. Why Aspilicueta? I've already got him, mate. It's not like I'm in a position to get rid of him. If I did have the possibility, I would get rid of him because I just don't know if he's going to start. Militao, yeah, any questions with Militao, I'll be saying Militao. So Militao blind, Militao. Van der Beek or Okafor? Van der Beek because he's more likely to start. Is it okay to have both Salah and Mane? It is okay, just bear in mind there is a risk of one of them being benched, especially, well, I don't know about especially, but one of them could be dropped or rested. Is Limitless today a good choice? Potentially. I wouldn't use it in matchday 6 because there's more rotation. Of course, let's wait and see what happens, but at the moment, I probably wouldn't want to use it then. So either now or in the knockouts. Best Bruno replacement? If this is for your normal team, definitely Sane, if you don't have him already. Zapata or Haller? For matchday 5, I think Zapata, but overall Haller has to be the better option. ¿A quién pondrías, Militao o Mazzari? Militao, como dije antes. Ronaldo, good option for today? Of course, he's always a good option, but I'm not going to go for him myself. Any Barca options? I think Ansu Fati, Memphis Depay, Jordi Alba. Other than that, I'm not too keen. Foden or Salah? Salah for sure for me. Vinicius or Nkunku? Both of them great options, Ahmed. I'm not sure what your team is looking like, so obviously that would play a part. If you already have Benzema, I'd go for Nkunku, but otherwise, to be honest, looking at the next two as a whole, I'd go for Vinicius. Douglas Santos or Aspi? Aspi, but obviously, is he going to start? That's another question. Woba for Sappacosta as a defender? I would not be... I'm guessing you're getting rid of Woba for Sappacosta. I would not be bringing in Woba for Sappacosta. Nkunku or Foden? Nkunku. Zapata or an Ajax defender or attacker? I prefer Haller and Anthony. The problem is, are they going to start? But I'd still prefer them. Who to replace Bruno with? I already answered that question. Trent replacements? Davis and Adam Militao. Van der Beek or Seawald? Van der Beek, but Seawald is more likely to get you 4 to 5 points. Best time to wildcard? I think the quarterfinals, semi-finals, or maybe even now. Matchday 6, I did that last year. I'm not too sure about that. I'm using Limitless. Any advice? I would suggest watching my best Limitless team video, and instead of Bruno Fernandes, I'd go for an Atalanta midfielder or Mahrez, and in defence, I'd go for Davis instead of Skriniar potentially. And also in terms of Limitless, I'd also say back your gut. If you're not really too sure of one of Salah or Mane starting, maybe go off them and go for someone else. Sandra and Sula to Militao Mazzari, that looks good to me, mate. Aspilicueta, Christensen or Rudiger? Has to be Christensen for me, but Rudiger's the most nailed of the lot. I can't change formation. Anyone else facing this issue? You have to bring on players from your bench in order to change your formation. Müller and Militao or Davis and Van der Beek? I would go for Davis and Van der Beek. I'm not really a big fan of Müller. I'd rather go for Lewandowski. Of course, Müller can do well, but yeah. Ronaldo, Messi, or another striker? For me, another striker, Lewandowski, and if not, Benzema, Vinicius Jr., etc. Haller, Anthony. Neuer or Mendy? That's a good question. I probably would go for Mendy and cover Bayern Munich with Davis. But then again, though, with all the injuries that Bayern Munich have at the back, maybe just go for Neuer. And he also has more saves. So yeah, I'd go for Neuer, actually. Which defender's most likely to score? I think Alphonso Davies. Best Alvarez 4.5 million replacement at 4.5 really, there's no one, mate. So you might as well just keep Alvarez. Is this a good week to play Limitless? It is a good week, but it's not the most ideal one based on all the injuries, COVID and rotation. Answered your question already, Victor. No need to spam it. Let me just moderate the chat as well. Jota will start. He is training. Well, I don't know if he's definitely going to start, but you would suspect he will, especially with Origi, being a doubt. Bayern or Inter defender? I'd probably prefer Bayern. Haller or Vinicius? Probably Vinicius, just because he's also more likely to start. Benzema or Salah? Benzema because he's also more likely to start, but of course Salah's always a good option. Adeyemi or Vinicius? Vinicius. Lewandowski, Sane or Salah for captain? Once again, there's no need to overcomplicate it. Salah plays tomorrow. He doesn't play today, so you can captain Salah, or should I say Sane or Lewandowski today, and then switch to captaincy to Salah. I would go for Lewandowski today and Salah tomorrow. Zishan says, I have Edson Alvarez and Sula injured. Should I change Sula for Militao and stack a transfer or bring Seawald or Donny van der Beek? Yeah, I'm looking to do something similar, mate. And I was set on doing Sula to Militao and saving the other transfer. But yeah, if you have enough money to do Alvarez to Van der Beek, I'd do that. I'd make 2 free transfers, Zishan. Okafor news, nothing concrete because I've seen some people in the chat saying he's out for 3 weeks, but I'm not sure if that actually has any substance. He has travelled with the squad, so there is a chance of him starting unless something else has happened. Depay or Ronaldo, I'd go for Ronaldo. Goalkeeper De Gea and Alisson, not for me. I don't like either one of them really. Captain Lewandowski or Sane, I've answered this question already. Lewandowski for me. It's up to you who you go for. Militao for me over Alaba. Pasalic or Ilicic? Based on form, you have to say Pasalic, but it's 50-50 that one. You're right about Oli getting the sack. Thoughts on Poch potentially leaving mid-season? To be honest, I think it's a blessing in disguise for PSG. I think if they get rid of Poch and they get Zidane, I think they have a much better chance of getting the Champions League trophy. So I actually hope that happens. And it also helps United. Obviously, I don't want United to do well, but it is good for all parties if Poch goes to United and Zidane goes PSG. Van der Beek plus Mendy or keep Alvarez and Neuer? Good question. I would just keep Alvarez and Neuer, and if not, I mean, yeah, just get rid of Alvarez for Van der Beek maybe, and have Neuer. Keep him. Is the Jota news enough to sub out Salah? Not really, because Jota would play up front, but who actually replaces Salah on the right wing? Maybe Minamino, who can play there, but other than that, not really. Best, cheapest defender, Mazzauri for me, and if you're looking for really cheap, Ongweni. Jordi Alba or Reece James? Reece James probably. Best keeper, for me it's Mendy, Neuer, Courtois, and if you want someone cheaper, go for Pasveer, or for the Lille goalkeeper, especially Pasveer, he would be my pick. Danjum or Bellingham? Probably Bellingham. Is Van der Beek worth losing 4 points? No, I don't think he's worth a -4 hit. Should I do Chiesa to Salah for a -4? It's risky though. Obviously, if Salah starts, then I think it will pay off, but will he start? I mean, you'd think so, but it's not guaranteed. So, Chiesa to Salah for a -4? I'd probably go for it, but I'm not too keen. Best defender costing less than 5 million? Mazzauri. Is Militao a good option? Yeah, he's a good option for the last 2 weeks, especially in Matchday 5, but even in Matchday 6, he's a good option. He can get ball recovery points. Bayern or Madrid defender? I'd probably go for Militao, really, so a Madrid defender. Militao for Acuna or save the transfer. I'd get Militao in for Acuna. Is Jota fit? He's in training, so he could be fit in time for tomorrow, but if not, he's just going to be rested for the weekend. I'm actually going to be making my transfers now. We've only got 20 or so minutes left. And yeah, in the poll, 39% of you once again have gone for 2 transfers. You think I should get Mazzauri and Van der Beek in for Sula and Alvarez. I was really considering just doing Sula to Militao, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, I could also... Yeah, no, I can't really. I've 0.1 million short, which is really frustrating, to be honest. But yeah, I would really want Militao, if I'm being honest. I think Militao is a pretty good option, as we can see here. Only match day 2, which I think that's when I got him in, actually. He did very poorly then, and was against Sheriff, of course. But he is looking really good. Look at how many ball recoveries he can get as well. I'm not too sure about Mazzauri starting, that's the problem. But I think Van der Beek could be a good option against Villarreal and Young Boys. You know what? I think I'm going to go for Mazzauri and Van der Beek. Let me know what you think down in the live chat, but I think I'm going to go for that. But I'll be honest, I'm really tempted by just having one transfer and getting Eder Militao. But yeah, this is what it's looking like. I might make 2 free transfers. Yeah, I mean, let's see. Yeah, I could just get rid of Alvarez instead and just get Van der Beek. I think that's what I'll probably do. There we go. So yeah, that's what it's looking like. Let me know what you think in the live chat. I'll try to get for any last questions, and just obviously apologies. I know some people would join late, but if I've already answered your question, then it will be less likely that I will be answering it, because I have answered several questions multiple times. Why not getting Pavard? Because not really a big fan of him. His attacking potential, obviously he can occasionally get the occasional attacking return, but in terms of ball recovery, he's not that impressive. The only Bayern defender I'd really want is maybe one of their budget ones, or Alphonso Davies. I advise Ronaldo, but I'm not really going to be looking to get rid of one of my strikers, to be honest. It makes no sense to do that. Militao or Davies, a Militao for me. Best midfielder under 9.7 million other than Sane, Nkunku. Do one transfer, fair enough. Yeah, that's probably good advice. Are you getting rid of Okafor? I have him as well because he looks so good for the amount of money he was. I mean, he should have scored in game week 4, match day 4. Yeah, I probably won't be getting rid of him. Simicas or Diego Carlos? Diego Carlos because he's more likely to start, of course. Yo me tenté con Militao nomás, a ver qué pasa. Sí, yo también Santiago, pero no sé. Van de Beek es una buena opción, pero no sé. La verdad no estoy muy claro con esta decisión, pero sí, creo que está bien hacer una transferencia y tener a Militao. Lewandowski o Haller, Lewandowski. Van de Beek or Jorginho, Jorginho. Oh my god, wait 1 second. Oh, Jesus. Sounded like I was going to throw up there. Yeah, still a little bit ill, so yeah, still got to manage the vocal cords. I use Limitless, but Bruno's on the bench. Which replacement? Mahrez, Ilicic, Pasalic. Bellingham or Nkunku? Nkunku. Do you think Salah will play? I think he will, but I could be wrong. There's a chance of him being benched. Van de Beek or Bellingham? Bellingham. Cancelo or Trent? I mean, I'd say Trent. If you're on a Limitless, I'd risk it there. But of course, just bear in mind he might not start. And obviously, he does play tomorrow, doesn't he? So that's not ideal. Mbappe or Ronaldo? Ronaldo. Jota for FPL. He's not injured now. I'm thinking about it. But yeah, he is an option. Obviously, let's wait and see how the week develops. Yeah, Mate Ortega, I've already answered your question. Mane out for who in the Limitless team? I'd keep Mane, but if you want to get rid of him, then once again, the same names as before. Mahrez, Pasalic, Foden, and also Ilicic. My guy's bilingual. Timo Werner moving like Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide. I speak Spanish at home, mate. Haller or Ronaldo? Haller, if he starts, obviously we just don't know that yet. 5.5 million defenders. Eder Militao. Also Munier. No confío nada en el United. No me jugaría por Van de Beek. Yeah, that's a good point, to be honest, Esteban. Yeah, I agree with you, to be honest, but it is kind of a nice little punt. But yeah, I think ultimately, the smart play is just to get Eder Militao and save the other transfer. I think that's what I'm probably going to do. Best midfielder for 5 million. I mean, at 5 million on the dot, I mean, there's not really anyone. I'd say Seawold. Will Okafor play? I mean, all these questions about will Okafor play, I just don't know. He's travelled with the squad, but I can't tell you if he's going to start or not. I think he will, but I could be wrong. So don't hold me to what happens. Alvarez to Donny, Van de Beek worth a -4. Not for me. Is Skriniar a good pick? I think he is. He was in my Limitless team, but I think there are better options elsewhere. 6 million midfielders. Okafor, Van de Beek, Seawold, etc. Obviously Barrios. Who should I take in Limitless instead of Bruno? I answered this question already, mate. Is Okafor going to start, though? Obviously, we don't know that, Abdullah. I'm just giving you my personal opinion, but I think he will. He's travelled with the squad, so that means there's a chance. Mazzario, Militao, definitely Militao. Reece James or Aspie? Normally I'd say Aspie because of ball recoveries, but I think Reece James is more likely to start. How about Capoue instead of Van der Beek? Obviously, Capoue is a good option. He did very well in match day 4. It's absolutely incredible performance. So many ball recoveries, got the goal and the assist, but I probably wouldn't go for him. But then again, over Van der Beek, that might be the right decision. Van der Beek or Ilicic? Definitely Ilicic for me. Destonoglu or Kobel? Kobel for me. Oh, fair enough, Abdullah. Yeah, either way, I answered your question as well. Thank you very much, Rock and Roll. Vinicius transfer out for Benzema. I wouldn't do that. I think both of them are fine and focus on someone else. Yeah, the nobody. I already answered that question multiple times. Jordi Alba, good option on Limitless, but I probably wouldn't be bringing him in because he faces Bayern Munich in match day 6. Best mid on a wildcard under 6.5. I think, yeah, Jorginho, and if not, I'd be looking at maybe Okafor if he's fit. Obviously, that's a big if. Danjum is also another good one. The real debate is Van der Beek, Seawold, or just stack a transfer for game week 6. Yeah, and I am leaning towards stacking a transfer. Of course, I do like this, having Mazzauri and Van der Beek, but I do like having Eder Militao. And yeah, obviously Alvarez is not really, I'm not really too keen on it. I think what could happen and what would be very frustrating is if Okafor misses out. If I keep Alvarez, obviously he's suspended, so that's already 2 players down. And then, of course, I have someone like Azpilicueta being benched. Then I'm already kind of down to the bare bones, and it's not looking too good, to be honest. But I am thinking of actually having free transfers ahead of match day 6. I think that could be a very nice advantage, and I think I'm going to be getting in Eder Militao in right now. Of course, it's a 50-50 decision. I think Van der Beek could do very well, and but with him, I think you're mainly relying on the goal contributions, and of course, he can do that. He's a pretty decent offensive player, but I think I'm going to be bringing in Eder Militao in now for Niklas Süle and kind of banking the other transfer ahead of match day 6. Best Bruno replacements: Leroy Sané, Nkunku, Bellingham, etc. Mazzari or Blind or Militao? Militao, mate. Adeyemi or Vinicius? Just do Süle to Militao, but you can save a transfer in UCL or have 2 against no matter what. Yeah, you can save a transfer. That's why I'm thinking of just using one of them. Otherwise, I would be... Yeah, if I couldn't save a transfer, then I would be making 2 free transfers and not getting Militao in potentially. But yeah, because you can do that, I'm going to be saving the other one. Wijnaldum, Mahrez or Foden? Mahrez for me, for this week anyway. Best midfielder up to 9 million. Nkunku, at least for match day 5. Süle out for Davis. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't afford to do that myself. But if you're talking about your own team, I think that's a good move. I think that's good. Mendy or Neuer? Probably Neuer, but I like Mendy too, to be honest. What about Dzeko? I still need to replace Lukaku. I think he's a decent choice. I think against Shakhtar at home, that's a pretty good fixture. I would consider it, but I would rather go for Vinicius Jr., Adeyemi, Antony, Haller, etc. Should I replace Aspie or keep and hope? If you have a spare free transfer and you're really not sure about it, then replace him. But otherwise, I think he's decent. But obviously, if you can, maybe replace him for Militao. Should I take a hit and sub out Mendy and Aspie? No, not a hit regarding a goalkeeper. Not for me. Maybe just get rid of Aspie. Casemiro or Danjuma? Danjuma for me. Militao or Skriniar or Cancelo? Militao for sure. Midfielders under 8 million? Pasalic, I think I would go for. Dylan también recuerda que la jornada 6 hace muchas rotaciones, así que sería bueno tener 3 transferencias. Sí, por eso, Zishan, estoy pensando en usar uno. Militao viene para Süle y sí, ya está. Después tengo 3 para usar en Matchday 6. Sí, estoy de acuerdo y creo que voy a hacerlo. Sí, ya faltan 13 minutos. There's 30 minutes left, and I think I'm just going to do that. Eder Militao in for Niklas Süle. I've been banging on about Militao all day and also all week, so I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Done. Niklas Süle out for Eder Militao. Let's just sort out my bench. Yeah, Eder Militao plays on the 24th, but so does everyone else on my bench. There we go. Yep. Just hoping that Okafor plays now, and I'm going to be sticking to him. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And obviously, I've only got 0.1 million in the bank. If I had enough money, I would probably do Okafor to Donny van der Beek. But yeah, I think I'll resist the temptation. I wouldn't be surprised if Van der Beek scores, especially early on. And there we go. Van der Beek or Fred? For me, Van der Beek. Rudiger, Militao? Militao. Most FPL YouTubers are making videos about UCL fantasies. Good on you, my guy. You're the only person I watch for any sort of UCL fantasy insight. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Abdullah. Yeah, UCL fantasy just isn't as popular as FPL, so I can see why. And also, if you look at, for example, the Christmas period, we've got 10 game weeks in 40 days for FPL. Then you add UCL fantasy to the mix. It's kind of a relief that, match day 6, there's a big break in between that and February for the round of 16, because otherwise, that would be kind of unsustainable and very difficult to do. All the content for FPL that you want to do, all the streams, and then UCL Fantasy. Keep double Chelsea defence of Aspie and Mendy, or take hits and sub them out. Maybe just replace one of them, K, but don't take a hit. Bellingham or Royce? Bellingham. Skriniar or Militao? Captain for tomorrow, either Benzema or Salah. I talked about this in my team selection. Van der Beek or Fred? Van der Beek. Arnold or Cancelo or Rudiger? Rudiger for me. Davis y Mazzari entran por Süle y Muñe o únicamente Militao por Süle. Sí, únicamente Militao por Süle. Militao o Rudiger? Militao. Brozovic or Bellingham? Bellingham. Benzema or Vinicius? If you have enough money, Benzema, but I think Vinicius might offer you better value for money. 5.7 million for a defender. Christensen, Pavard or Silva? I'd go for Christensen, to be honest, and if not, Militao, but I'm guessing you have him already. Kante or Donny? I'd go for Donny. Davis or Militao? For matchday 5 specifically, I'd say Davis, but overall Militao. Moikrak Dylan, thanks a lot, mate. Great job. Thank you, Ignacio. I'm guessing you're Argentinian, but hopefully, if you're not, then obviously apologies. By Alonso, -4 points. No, mate, no. Is it good to double up on Real Madrid defenders? I think it could be a nice differential. I talked about this actually in my recent videos. I think it is actually a decent choice. And yeah, I think Militao is a good purchase. Midfielder for Limitless, not Sane, Mane and Cuckoo Salah. Ilicic, Mahrez, Foden, Pasalic, one of those I think would do very well. Also Bellingham. Van der Beek or Mane on Limitless? I'd go for Mane, but obviously it is risky. Should I take a hit? Yeah, I already answered this, mate. There's no need to spam the chat. Is Goncalves a good choice for Limitless? Yes, he is. But I think there might be better options elsewhere. Yeah, only 10 minutes left for the deadline. And yeah, remember to lock in your teams. Have your captaincy sorted. Lewandowski is going to be my captain today. And tomorrow it will be either Benzema or Mohamed Salah. And yeah, I've decided to make just the one free transfer, Nicolas Sula to Eder Militao, and saving the other free transfer to have free heading into matchday 6, which I think could be very beneficial. Van der Beek or stack a sub, mate? Or I'm guessing, yeah, transfer. Yeah, I'd stack a transfer. That's what I did. Mane or Foden? I'd go for Mane. Rate my team: Rulli, Distanoglu, Militao, Davis, Aspi, Mazzari, Laporte, Nkunku, Chiesa, Danjuma, Foden, Alvarez, Benzema, Depay, and Lewandowski. That's a good team. The only concerns I have really is Azpilicueta if he starts, and Laporte. I think he's probably the weakness there. Laporte, he's the weakness in my team as well. So I would be looking to do that actually. And yeah, let me actually end the poll now, because I've actually, finalized my transfer. 40% of you said I should have made 2 free transfers. And yeah, second place was actually the transfer I ended up making. Militao in for Sula. Is Kessie a good choice? He's injured, mate. I'm pretty sure he's injured, unless there's something that's happened recently. Skriniar's a good option, as the Ridge is injured, yeah. But once again, that also means Inter Milan's chances of a clean sheet are slightly reduced. Roussillon or Mazzari? Definitely Mazzari. Mane or Foden? Mane. No need to spam the chat. Yeah, there you go. That's the full poll results. 561 of you voted, so thank you very much to everyone who's been voting. Remember to smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. Brozovic or Jorginho? Ask Mohid. I would go for Jorginho. Yeah, the nobody. I already answered your question. If you want, replay the live chat a little bit. Sane, Danjuma or Adeyemi for captain today? Sane, but I'm surprised you don't have Lewandowski, but yeah, I'd go for Sane. Would you keep Coates? If you have a spare transfer, then I would maybe sell him for a Mazzari, a Militao, a Chelsea defender, etc. Maybe Thomas Meunier. Do you really think Pasveer going to play for Ajax? I think so. Obviously, I just don't know what they're going to do. They have been rotating goalkeepers a bit this season. Forson Vanakin on a wildcard. Yeah, he's decent, but I probably would prefer Nkunku and all these other options I discussed in my best wildcard team video. Rodri to start for City? I believe so, yep. Danjuma or Bruno? Bruno's not starting, so I'd have to say Danjuma. Why didn't you take out Alvarez? Because I'm saving a transfer heading into matchday 6. Chelsea defender or Militao? Militao. Thank you, JIBX. If I took Nkunku, then I have to let Adeyemi, and then I take Vinicius, I have to let Foden. I'm guessing you're saying let Foden go. Yeah, I'd get Vinicius in and get rid of Foden, I guess. Haller maybe not, because they qualified. Yeah, he might not play, but obviously I just can't tell you that for sure. No one can. We'll wait and see what Ten Hag does, but he's still a good option, of course, if he does start. Should I do Sula and Alvarez to Militao and Van der Beek, or just Sula to Militao? I was in the exact same position as you, mate. If I had enough money, I would have actually done both transfers, Drago. But once again, there is an advantage to having free transfers heading into matchday 6. But of course, you don't have to do that. And I probably would make the 2 free transfers in your case. Will Anthony start? Once again, I can't tell you that for sure. The same goes for Haller. I think he will, but I might be wrong. Pavard or Lucas Hernandez? I'd go for Lucas Hernandez. Chiesa or Mahrez? I'd go for Mahrez. Lewandowski or Sane? Once again, I answered this already multiple times. Lewandowski for me. Up to you who you go for. Who's a good limitless midfielder? Salah, Mane, Mahrez, Foden, Nkunku. All the options I've discussed in my best wildcard team video. Diaz to Cancelo or Marquinhos to Militao? Diaz to Cancelo, I think. And if not, just do Diaz to Militao. I think that's probably the best option to do, mate. Ronaldo or Haller? Probably Ronaldo, because he's more likely to start, but then again, Haller is significantly cheaper. Who do you think is going to play today? James versus Aspie, Chilwell versus Alonso. James and Chilwell, and Aspie could play as one of the centre-backs, and it'll be between Aspie and Thiago Silva. Alba or Alonso? Alba for sure. Herrera or Van der Beek? I'd probably go for Van der Beek. Thanks for the live. Helps a lot. Thank you, Ross, for always tuning in. Can I save 2 free transfers to have 4 transfers? You can't have 4 transfers. You can only save 1 and carry 1 over, so you have 3 transfers. You can't have 4. Petello, I already answered your question. Thank you, Mohammed. Van der Beek or Jorginho? I'd still go for Jorginho. Brozovic as a substitute? I mean, fair enough. I mean, remember, you can bring them on from the bench anyway, so it doesn't matter if they're on your bench or not. But I think Brozovic is a decent option. Am I crazy? Transferred out Salah, Alvarez for Nkunku and Koeman? I think that actually could be a nice set of transfers. Obviously, Salah could start, and if he does, that could be painful, but that's not too bad, mate. Would you do the pie to Anthony for this week? I would probably, but actually, Aranya, I would rather do Depay to Vinicius. I'm a bit more confident of him starting. Vinicius or Ronaldo? I'd actually go for Vinicius, mate, but Ronaldo, of course, is Ronaldo. Is this a good squad? Who to keep as captain? Benzema, Haller, Lewandowski, Seawald, Sane, Jorginho, Nebcha, Skriniar, Rudiger, Ongueni, Neuer, Pasveer, Militao, Nkunku, Cancelo. That's a good squad. I don't really think there's a big weakness there. And as for captaincy, for me, it's simple. I'd either go for Sane or Lewandowski today. I'd probably go for Lewandowski. And tomorrow, for the captaincy, I'd go for Benzema. And the rest looks pretty fine. Benzema, Vinicius, Lewandowski, Van der Beek, Salah, Mane, Cancelo, Trent, Rudiger, Davis, Mendy. That looks good, mate. Seth. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm not sure who you have on your bench, but that's good. I'm just a bit concerned if Trent's going to start. And maybe Mane or Salah will be benched, especially Mane. Okafor no va jugar. Yeah, I haven't seen anything, to be honest. I haven't seen anyone actually talk about Okafor being out for sure. But yeah, he has travelled with the squad. Obviously, it's not ideal because I think he's a decent option this week if he actually does start. But yeah, I haven't seen anything about Okafor. Yeah. I'm checking Twitter right now, but I don't see anything. Obviously, that does make things complicated because I've already made my transfer. Otherwise, I was considering getting Van der Beek in for Okafor and doing it that way. But yeah, I just don't see anything on Twitter. Nothing. Yeah, I checked their website as well, the official Red Bull Salzburg website. Reece will play. Can't tell you that for sure, mate, but I think he will. And if not, it will be Aspie as the right wing back. Okafor and Nkunku, definitely Nkunku. Yeah, exactly, Santiago. Thank you for the stream. Thank you, You'll Apprentice. Chilwell or Aspie or James or Alonso? I prefer Aspie, but the problem is he might not start. Chilwell and James obviously have that attacking potential, but do they get that many ball recoveries? Not normally. Origi, I think he's actually a doubt, isn't he? That's what I heard from viewers as well. But yeah. Thoughts on Mela? I think he's a very good option this week. I think he could be really good. And if not, you can go for Zappacosta. Any news about Dest? Will he start? I would just get rid of him for Mazzari, to be honest. Which transfers did you make? Only one transfer. I'm saving the other one for Matchday 6, so I have 3 transfers. I did Sula to Eder Militao. Sula is confirmed out. Enjoy the games, Dylan. Thanks as ever, legend. Thank you very much, and good luck with your team, Borussia Dortmund. Thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you in more FPL and UCL Fantasy videos and streams. Van der Beek or Bellingham? Definitely Bellingham. Who should I transfer for Salah as he may be benched? I'd keep him, but if you want to sell him, I would maybe consider Sane if you don't have him already, and of course if you do, Nkunku, and then that gives you a lot of money heading into Matchday 6, and also maybe even now if you have another transfer to make. Yeah, thank you, Rock and Roll. And to be honest, I agree with most of the people you've timed out because, yeah, some people actually asked the question, I answered it, and then they still repeated it. And if not, they just constantly repeated the same question, like before I even had a chance to answer it. I think you should do something with Meunier and keep Alvarez. Dortmund will win, but I don't think they will be defensively solid. True, fair enough, but he can get an attacking return. Obviously, if he does play as a centre-back, that is very worrying. And it also limits his ability to get ball recovery points. But if he plays as a right wing back, he can get ball recoveries and he can get, different sources of points. But I do agree. But ultimately, I'm going to be saving my transfer and I've got other fires to put out. Like Okafor is a fire potentially. Also Alvarez and Laporte. I think they're all problems. Ilicic or Mane? I'd say Mane, but if you're not sure about him starting, just go for Ilicic. I would definitely try to cover Atalanta if you don't, if you're on a Limitless and you don't have their cover already. Should I bring Alvarez in for a Nepcha as I don't spend the next transfer next match day? I'm guessing you're saying the other way around because Alvarez is suspended. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Yeah, I'd probably consider it. Aspi out for Cancelo. I mean, that's the thing. He might not start Aspilicueta, but if he does start, I think he's a really good option. And I think he could at least start one of the remaining 2 match days. But I probably would keep him. Van der Beek or Salah? Definitely Salah. Skriniar versus Christensen? I probably would say Christensen. Is it worth transferring out Okafor? If so, for who? 6.1 million midfielder. Van der Beek, I'd say. Van der Beek, if not, maybe Kante or one of those other ball recovery merchants like Barrios. Mezzari going to shine, I guess. Yeah, probably. Goncalves or Bellingham? Bellingham. Who to replace Mela? 4 out of Skriniar, Militao, Trent, Cancelo, Militao. Thanks for your help. Thank you, Peter Peters. Werner or Ziyech? I'd probably say Ziyech, and Werner is still a doubt to play. Did you make your predictions? I actually forgot about that, but yes, I did. I went with 1-1 Villarreal United, and to be honest, I didn't change it. I think United will probably win it. And I went with 3-0 Bayern Munich, and I played my booster. So we'll wait and see what happens there. But yeah, let's wait and see. And there we go. We've started, and Champions League is up and running. If you haven't already, as I always say, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. It really helps out the channel and with the algorithm, so it'd be much appreciated. Remember to comment, also share the video and all that good stuff, and to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM. A big shout out to everyone who's already followed me on those platforms, to everyone who's already subscribed, all the channel members, and to everyone who's sent in super chats over the last few streams, including Kat today. Very much appreciated, and good luck with match day 5. Good luck with the rest of the season, and I'll try to go through any last, any remaining questions, and then I'm gonna be, enjoying the games and having a nice cuppa. Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah, the team's already done. Confirm your team, guys. Don't second guess your transfers now. Exactly, and make sure obviously your bench was sorted, but obviously it's now done. Mahrez or Bellingham? I'd probably say Bellingham overall, but obviously for matchday 5 specifically, you could arguably go for Mahrez, but I'd say Bellingham. Munoz should be okay to play wing back. Yeah, that's actually good to hear, and obviously you would know your stuff. Probably be Zagadou, Akanji, and Pongracic back 3 with Rafael Guerreiro and Munoz. I think Guerreiro could be really good. He just came back from injury, and I think he got an assist at the weekend, so that's a really good shout. Thank you very much for that update, Patricio. Oh, Patricio, Patriotic Irish BVB. Patricio. Thank you, Hospa. Yeah, locked in. Yeah. Did you make your predictions? Yeah, locked in and everything done. Force on Chilwell. Like him a lot in FPL. In UCL Fantasy, I prefer the centre-backs like Rudiger, Christensen and Aspilicueta. Thank you, Okta, for tuning in and for your kind words. Targeting Malba would have been probably a good one. Yeah, if I was in a position of strength, Peter Peters, I probably would have gotten maybe, for example, a Zuba or a defender. That's a really good point. And also, if I had my chip, I would have considered maybe, like even for a Limitless, going for the goalkeeper. He did very well match day 2, but they have been very poor since then. Hi Dylan, how are you, mate? I'm doing very well. Coop Dog, what about you? Much better than before. I'm still, almost recovered, but still a little bit ill, but should be fine soon. Yeah, locked. Cheers, Dylan. Thank you, Niraj. Good to see you on here again. Good luck to you as well, Rock and Roll. Thank you for moderating the chat as always. Very much appreciated. Watching any games? I'll probably maybe watch the Man United game, but I mainly just got my eyes on the big game this week, and that's Paris Saint-Germain against Manchester City, and that is tomorrow, isn't it? Yep. Other than that, not really looking to watch anything else. If I'm being completely honest, obviously maybe Chelsea Juventus today, but yeah, I think the big one obviously is Paris Saint-Germain against Man City at the Etihad. That should be a really high quality game. I think that City will win it, potentially. And I hope, like I said before, Poch does leave PSG and Zidane goes there and they have a better chance of winning the Champions League. Would you have done Depay and Alvarez to Van der Beek and Antony? I couldn't afford Vinicius. I have Benzema already, so I wasn't particularly looking to get him in, and I wasn't looking to save a transfer either. Fair enough. I think a double up of Vinicius and Benzema is actually a nice differential, but I still like those transfers you made, and Antony could be a really nice one actually. Like I said before with Ben Chilwell, I already talked about him. UCL fantasy wise, not really a big fan of him because of ball recoveries. I think the centre backs are better. Have you heard the news about Aspi? Apparently he isn't playing. That's news to me. I didn't hear it today, to be honest. But that's not really good news, especially if Okafor doesn't play either. But I'm expecting matchday 5 to be a red arrow. I'm in a really good rank at the moment, but unfortunately it'll probably tumble down a little bit. Yeah, Guerrero could be great this week. Was tempted by him, but no Haaland to hit in the box. Yeah, obviously Haaland is a huge miss, and I think with him, and also if Dortmund didn't go down to 10 men in matchday 4, I think they could even top the group, to be honest. But yeah, obviously matchday 3, that was a big whooping from Ajax. What happened with Alvarez? He accumulated too many yellow cards, and he got subbed off at half-time in the last game against Borussia Dortmund. Was Game Week 3 too early to use my wildcard? I don't think so, mate. I think it's actually a good chance, a good time to use it. I did very well since using my wildcard. If I hadn't have used it, I would be in a much worse position. Obviously, it's kind of squad dependent, so it might differ in your case, but I think wildcarding in matchday 3 isn't necessarily too early because you have 4 match days to kind of enjoy the fruits of that labour. Thanks a lot, Dylan. Good luck. Thank you very much, Morador. Moradosiar. I probably butchered that, but thank you very much, mate. Yeah, Coop Dog, I think it's the perfect time to use it, and if not, in the knockout stages, heading into the quarterfinals or semi-finals. Fully agree, Dylan. Very soft red card, but Ajax were great, to be fair to them. Anyways, all the best. Enjoy the games. Good luck to you as well, and enjoy the Champions League. And yeah, I think, the red card was very stupid, and Ajax did deserve to win anyway, but obviously the red card did change the game. I went mostly with Bayern, Real Madrid, Inter, Ajax, and Leipzig with a Liverpool and Atalanta playing the mix. Yeah, I would have probably done the same on the Limitless rock and roll. Good luck with your Limitless. Hopefully it turns out okay, and hopefully we've got some great action today. But yeah, wait, what do you mean Danjuma's got 0 points? You don't tell me he got a yellow already. Oh no, but he is starting anyway. I think that might just be a visual glitch where it says he's got 0 points. He should have 1. Yeah, it's just a little glitch, isn't it? But yeah, Danjuma is starting, isn't he? That's why I checked. That would be very awkward if he isn't. But yeah, got 2 red cards so far. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, thank you to everyone who's still tuning in. If you have got any more questions or comments, I'm happy to answer them before we wrap up. Still streaming, yeah. Wrapping up soon, of course, but I wouldn't mind, any more discussion or anything else. There's nothing else to discuss with matchday 5 in particular. And as for matchday 6, I'll leave that obviously when the time comes. And then there's a huge break up until February. But I will be looking to do some content over those few months. Probably it will be stretched out, and more of it will be around the February mark as we get to it, because most people won't be interested in watching content, from December to January, when a lot could change, to be fair. But I might make like a first draft video or something like that. But then again, you've got to consider we do have a lot of Premier League action as well at the same time. Oh yeah, the United game is kicking off slightly later for some reason at 5:50. But yeah, Danjuma is starting. So that's good. Yeah, the Man U game is delayed. Yeah, do you know why it's delayed? Yeah, that's a bit weird. Yeah, I took a punt on Anthony. Hopefully he plays, and even if he doesn't, my squad does well. That's what the bench in UCL Fantasy is useful for, in my opinion. It gives you freedom. Yeah, exactly. That's why I like the bench a lot in UCL Fantasy. It gives you more flexibility, and it also increases the potential to score more points. I did a -8. It's crazy. Yeah, in UCL Fantasy, a -8 is pretty excessive. I've only taken 1 hit ever in UCL Fantasy, and I can't lie, I think it was a bit of a glitch where I literally didn't even confirm my transfer, and somehow it already, was made, and I think it involved Thomas Meunier. Do we have unlimited transfers going into the knockout stages? Yes, we do, mate. We do. How excited are you for the last couple of F1 races? I'm more nervous, to be fair. I would just rather Verstappen, claims the victory now in Saudi Arabia, but it's very unlikely that's going to happen. I think Mercedes will be on another level, especially with the new engine. I just think that right now it's just one-way traffic, and Mercedes have it in the bag, and Bottas could even finish second, and that will obviously just dent Verstappen's chances even further. But obviously I'd love it if Verstappen finished first and got the fastest lap, and Hamilton finished 7th or below. I mean, that'll be beautiful. It'd be music to my ears. But unfortunately, I think Mercedes have it in the bag. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I think Verstappen deserves to win it, because if we put it bluntly, he's finished first or second in every race he's finished in, except those where he got a DNF or something stupid happened, like Monza, Silverstone, Baku, of course. And yeah, he's just been very unlucky, I think. He definitely deserves the title. It just says technical difficulties. That's very weird. Breaking, Lukaku starts on the bench for Chelsea against Juventus. Thank you very much for that, and probably will involve Azpilicueta being benched. I don't know why suddenly Azpilicueta just doesn't get a game anymore. I think he deserves to start, but yeah, it's a big shame. Wow, did I just hear a soo from Dylan? Yeah, you did. Yeah. I don't know why. Sometimes it's a bit natural, but I've been doing a lot over the past few months, especially years. It has started now. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it has started now. It's 5:54. Hamilton, please. Oh wow, we actually get more Hamilton fans in the chat. Nah, I'm tired of him always winning. I want someone different. And for me, Verstappen is the best driver on the grid. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Verstappen can do it. Either Checo or Bottas will do some kamikaze. Hopefully, Checo into Hamilton off. Okay, let's just. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't see it happening. And also, Red Bull would be disqualified from the constructors. I would want them winning the championship too. But yeah, I'm just tired. Please give me a new winner. And honestly, if those incidents I just mentioned didn't happen, Verstappen would literally have won the title already. So I think he's been hard done by. And please just win the title. Something different, for the love of Christ. I'd rather have that, Verstappen winning now in Saudi Arabia, than both of them going neck on neck, level on points going into the final race, because I just know he's going to win at that point with the machinery being superior. As a Dutchman, I do hope Verstappen can win. Yeah, and also it'd be the first Dutch driver to win a championship, wouldn't it? And yeah, Verstappen's... Look, this might be controversial. I mean, actually, no, I'm going to say it. Do you think Mbeumo to Jota's worth a -4 for FPL? I think it's worth it, to be honest, but just wait and see as the week progresses, Ben. Just came back to the stream. Apparently for the United game isn't happening. Really? Ah, Jesus Christ. That is just stupid, isn't it? Are you serious? No, it's starting, yeah. It's starting. No, because literally with the amount of fires I have to put out, if Danjuma misses out in match day 5 because of something like this, that would just be terrible. But yeah, they've been playing. I think they had technical difficulties, apparently, according to the chat. Yes, Dylan, I've just been scientifically proven that if you sue, you always feel as confident as Ronaldo and be as good as him at football. Second part not proven. Yeah, no, I don't think that's a guarantee, to be honest. It's pretty difficult to be as good as him at football. Yeah, the game has already begun, the Flying Dutchman. Yeah, true. And as for the controversial thing I was going to say, obviously, it's kind of looking at Verstappen's style of driving. It reminds me a lot of Schumacher, so I would be, kind of biased. But I think Verstappen, Hamilton and Alonso are the best drivers on the grid right now. And I think Verstappen is pretty much the best I've seen. Obviously, you have to say Lewis is the best driver since Schumacher. But, looking at the new generation, Verstappen is definitely the best. He's the best young prodigy I've seen, despite the fact he hasn't won a title yet. But hopefully it's this year. Then fake news in the WhatsApp group. But to be fair, though, it did start late. It started 5 minutes late. Hope Man U lose. I want to see Mr. Champions League play in the Europa League, says Lipuk. I mean, you are a Liverpool fan. Of course you'd say that. To be honest, though, they could win the Europa League, so I would rather them just finish bottom, if anything. I don't want them finishing in the Europa League. Obviously, it would be banterous anyway. Ronaldo playing in the Europa League was just nothing you'd ever expect, to be honest, but it can happen. Verstappen can go on to win more than Hamilton. He has loads of years left. I hope so. If there's anyone I want to break the records, it's him, Verstappen, but yeah, I don't know. I still want him to win this year, and I want him to start that kind of catch-up. But realistically, it will take a lot of years, for Hamilton's records to kind of be broken. 102 wins, 102 poles, Mercedes winning 7 Constructors and Drivers' Championships in a row, Hamilton winning 7 titles, maybe 8 soon. Yeah, these records are just going to be there for time, and to be honest, I just don't like Mercedes. I really don't. I hate Toto Wolff. He's a... Also enjoyed the spanking last weekend. I don't know what you're on about, wait. I support Argentina, and yeah, I don't know what you're on about. It would be so funny if Man U played Europa League. It would, to be fair, but I just don't want them winning it. But then again, they didn't last year, did they? But obviously that could change this year. They've got a lot of quality, and if they do get a Pochettino midway through the season, then you never know what could happen there. But thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. It's very much appreciated. Nice chatting with you all. The United game has finally kicked off 5 minutes later than usual, and good to see you all here again. If you haven't already, like I said, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new, share the video, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Dylan_RCM. And do you think Max might beat Hamilton? He can. I mean, he is 8 points clear, but I think Mercedes are just on another level. I mean, they won in Qatar despite having their old engine, and I think they're putting the new engine from Brazil, where they just literally were a rocket ship. They're going to have that in place for Saudi Arabia, which looks like an absolutely fast track with so many straights, which favours them, and not really Red Bull. But then again, everyone thought that Brazil would favour Red Bull and Max Verstappen, and in the end, Mercedes were the one on another level. So you never know. There could be another twist of the tail, which doesn't involve a kamikaze Checo Perez or Valtteri Bottas or whatever. But yeah, there could be just another twist of the tail in terms of who is quicker on the day. and hopefully Verstappen can secure it. But there is a chance, of course, but I think that, yeah, realistically, Mercedes are the favourites. Last season, Villarreal smacked them. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it was on penalties, but yeah, that was one of the longest penalty shootouts I've seen in a final, but yeah, there you go. The only way Verstappen wins is if Hamilton gets a penalty or something. Well, even then, though, a penalty I don't think will pretty much stop Hamilton and Mercedes. That car is just way too quick. But yeah, I mean, I still think Verstappen can win one race. If he just wins one race, he just has to finish third in the other one, but then again, it's easier said than done, isn't it? Goal Bayern. Max is a cheat. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to entertain that. Goal Bayern, who scored? Hopefully Lewandowski, but yeah. Where's Ford? What do you mean Ford? Lewa already scored. Jesus Christ, this guy. Yeah, it's such a shame. Actually, well, we'll see who wins the Ballon d'Or next week, next Monday, the 29th of November. But yeah. Have you seen Rush? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen the film Rush. Yeah, it's a quality film. Two good actors, especially the one who plays Niki Lauda. Yeah. Lewa with a bicycle kick over the head. Wow, yeah. I mean, fair play. I mean, he's just such an easy captaincy choice, isn't he? You just know he's going to score every damn game. And the service provided to him is unbelievable. But yeah. Who do you lot think will win the Ballon d'Or next week? Obviously, most reports are saying Messi has won it and that he knows it already. But a lot of people think Lewandowski will win it. Yeah, what a goal. Yeah, I haven't seen it myself. I'll be watching it right now, but I'm not going to watch the game, I'll be honest, because, oh wow, how much are Bayern going to win by? Let me get my popcorn out. Yeah, I don't really care, to be honest, but the goal itself I will check out because apparently it is a banger. But thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in, and very much appreciate, of course, as always. And this has been a long one, hasn't it? Yeah, over 2 hours. Pretty much kind of the average length for us, really. Lewandowski. And when is this guy going to stop? He's going to keep on scoring, isn't he? But yeah, we'll wait and see. It will be an easy win for Bayern Munich. I mean, it's a pretty easy group for them. Barcelona could put up a little bit of a stern test with Xavi at the mix, or at the helm, should I say. But we'll wait and see. That should be an interesting game. But thank you very much to everyone who's been watching. Good luck for this week. And yeah, thank you very much, Santiago. Thank you, Lipuk, and everyone else who's still tuned in. And always appreciated. And I'll be looking to do more UCL Fantasy and FPL content over the coming weeks and months. If you have any questions or comments that haven't been answered, put them in the comment section down below. Any assists for the goal? I'm not sure, mate. I'll be honest, I'm not too sure. I checked live score and it didn't say, but we'll find out soon enough. Last Champions League stream was jokes. This one was decent, to be honest. Oh, thank you. Yeah, only decent. But yeah, thank you very much, Ben. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everyone else. Enjoy the football. Enjoy Lewandowski and his bicycle kick goals. Enjoy the Messi Ballon d'Or next week. See.